Hello everyone, welcome to this, the inaugural meeting of the International Computer Club, a fellowship which will reach across borders and oceans and allow folks from all around the globe to share their passion and joy for classic computers, consoles, and retro gaming. All right. We are live, gentlemen. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first meeting of the International Computer Club. We have here a cast of gentlemen, fine folks all around, and we are going to endeavor to get this sucker going. The first thing out of the gate, I think we should just go around and say who we are. Go around the horn here. I'll lead off. I'm Aaron. How's it going? Rob, why don't you take it from there?
I'm Rob, but I don't know where the unmute button is. Hey, I'm Rob O'Hara. I'm joining the International Computer Museum from Oklahoma, right in the middle of the United States.
Very good. Edvin?
I'm Edvin, as you said. And I'm from Norway, on an island called Stord. And I'm joined here today by some of my more adventurous neighbors and my brother.
In the cave.
In the cave.
In the cave. Beautiful, beautiful. Jason, what about you?
You'll have a tour in a couple of minutes.
Oh, beautiful.
Hi, I'm Jason Warrens. I'm connected in from Calgary, Canada.
Very good. Good day.
Good day.
Now, Reflection, what about you, man?
Hey, I'm Martin, known as Reflection from my scene days. And I live in Norway, Nesodden outside Oslo, representing Nesodden Amiga user group here tonight.
Yeah.
And no, it's not anywhere near where Edvin lives.
Very good, very good. Okay, Kit, your Wi-Fi's holding up. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's holding up good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yes. Good. Oh, right on. Oh, okay, I'm on vacation, so I'm at a ski resort called Powder Mountain, up at the top of the Rocky Mountains in Utah, and you kind of see just up at the top. It's awesome. Just enjoying the view and enjoying my time.
Beautiful, beautiful. Is that a Top Gun shirt you're wearing there?
It is.
Very good. You are stuck in the 80s, man.
I know, it's terrible.
You're in the right place.
Terrible.
Now, let's move over to a man he's literally at the beach, from the Rockies to the beach. It's David. What's going on, dude?
How you doing? I'm in Phoenix. I got my first Commodore in '85, and been loving them ever since. Been new to the retro scene for about the past 2 years or so, but still tend to be a bit of a lurker. I said I'm down here in Phoenix, and at some point I'm going to go visit Doug. He's a big fan. You guys probably saw I sent him a bunch of the junk, the 3D stuff. That's one of my new current hobbies is 3D printing.
Oh, that was you, huh?
Yeah. If you guys need any 3D junk, let me know.
Oh, man.
I see you guys got 1702s with no covers, man. I got 1702 covers.
Oh, you're going to be a popular fellow, my friend. By the way, when did Phoenix get a beach, man?
It's I gotta dream it. We actually yesterday was the first day in like 30, 40 days we were under 100. So it's
jeez. Holy mackerel, that's brutal.
It's a dry heat.
Yeah. Listen, 100's heat as far as I'm concerned, dry or wet. Now, here's a man, this is dedication, my friends. A man who's currently driving around on camera. Let's give it a look at that. He's got the car cam on. Give it up for Andy. What's going on, Andy? Can you talk without wrecking?
I'm in Georgia, USA. I love playing with the retro stuff, but on the weekend I like to get out. So if the cell coverage hangs in there and y'all get to see what I get to see, I'm going about 5 miles an hour behind a tractor.
It sounds like my every day at work. That's it, man.
Yeah, this is Georgia. Got a little bit of mountains. They're a little bit smaller than Powder Mountain. I actually have been to Powder Mountain. That's the first place I did snowboarding. I was actually born just a few miles from there. Don't know how I ended up in Georgia, but Hey, I grew up on Commodore 64, and I don't know, I hate Windows 10 more and more each day, so I might try to figure out some way to be retro. I don't know, the trouble is just getting a working HTML5 web browser. Other than that, I might be one of these maniacs who actually uses an old system to do modern stuff. So that's it for me.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Hey, be careful down there. I hope you're not in southern Georgia because the bad mojo's coming your way, my friend. The storm is coming. So let's move along. I see him, the man, the myth, the legend. He's crept in under the wire. Well, he crept in and there he is. Curtis Boyle. What's going on, Curtis?
Well, we didn't quite finish full Cocoa Talk before your show started, so I had to ditch them.
Oh,
man. The more
man.
important show, obviously.
Oh,
So,
no comment
Nick
there.
along with me.
Very good.
So what kind of intros are we doing here? Because I kind of missed the beginning.
We're just saying who we are and where we're at, man. It's just that we're just kicking it back. Everyone knows Curtis, king of the cocoa, who's held mine and Boat's hand as we crept through the minefield of cocoa. Actually, cocoa is so much easier than everything else. It's not much of a minefield, but we've made it through. Thank you, Curtis. Since we're talking about Curtis, let's talk about our good buddy, Nick Marentes. How's it going, Nick?
G'day everyone. Yep, here in Australia. I've been a Cocoa user since the 80s, and I still play with them.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And then, not bringing up the rear, but number one in my heart, a man who he turns up everywhere I go. My good buddy Frodo NL. Frodo, what's going on, man?
Hey guys, I'm Frodo NL. Real name Frank, but most people know me as Frodo these days. I started out with a Timex Sinclair 1000 in 1981, but most of the 80s I was a Spectrum user, and well, I am once again since about 5 years now. And well, I basically love everything retro, as Curtis and Nick also know, for instance.
You have a Cocoa, don't you, Frodo?
No, I have to use a Mister for that.
Oh no! Oh, you've got a Mister. You're solid then. You're okay. How's the emulation on that thing?
A pretty decent Cocoa 3, thanks to Mr. Coco from, what's his name again? I can't think of the guy's name.
Oh, Roger Taylor.
Roger Taylor, thank you. Yeah.
Now
he has made a very good core for that.
Now he's one of the guys on the Mister that you actually have to pay for his core, don't you? Is that right, guys?
Yeah, you have to be on his Patreon, but it's a low amount a month, $1 or $2 a month.
Yeah, I didn't think it was super. Listen, for someone to put something like that together, yeah, it's worth it. I've been eyeballing one of those things stupidly but the Amiga sort of turned me on to it. This thing is solid, and I'm thinking if all the stuff on the Mister is this good, it's probably a winner. And I know a lot of people swear by him. But of course, having a real Cocoa, but still, you never know. I'm always concerned that my stuff's just going to blow up. So,
yeah, for me, it's a combination of being able to afford it, and B, having space for it. Because I live in a one-bedroom apartment, and I basically don't have enough space for my Spectrums, let alone for other stuff.
Yeah, I understand.
I also have a 3D printer here that also uses space.
Oh man, yeah. Show of hands, since he mentioned that, how many people that are, and Andy, you could say something so we can't see it, how many people here are currently fiddling with a 3D printer? Looks like we got 1, 2, and we know Frodo, so 2 or 3 of you, because it seems like everyone, and I know my brother is going crazy trying to get him something set up. I guess that's the next thing. I'm so cheap, I just don't know if I could afford the material it would take to, because I watch Rushi mess with his, and it seems like he botches. It's not his fault, but sometimes it just doesn't work, right? I mean, and then you're screwed.
The material's cheap. It's the printer that's the cost. The material you can print stuff.
And all the adaptations you do to it, because of course you buy a printer and then you decide, well, I want to do this, I want to have direct drive, etc. But sometimes stuff goes wrong. But once you have it trimmed in, okay, most of the stuff goes okay. And every now and again, as they say, material is cheap. It's a kilogram is between $15 and $25, depending on what exact material you use. So that's not too bad.
Now, David, you printed a lot.
Like him to 3D printing is Play-Doh. So
yeah, David, you printed a lot of stuff. I saw the episode where a lot of your prints were featured.
I got stuff laying around. Yeah, I'm a nut.
How often do you have to? How often does it just go south on you? I mean, since you've done it so much, have you perfected it to the point where you don't have too many misfires?
I spent a couple of dollars on some upgrades, right? I got like an auto bed leveling kit, so every time it goes and it checks the bed before. I spent a couple of dollars on a different. I don't use glass. I use this flex stuff, and it adheres to a lot better, right? So I did do some upgrades. You know, when I get a new roll of filament, you know, I do some tests to see what the best temperature and whatnot. So yeah, I'm pretty much at a set it and forget it mode right now. You know, I mean, I've just got so much stuff laying around. I started doing. You can't see it. I've been doing these big, they're Amiga 600 cases. I wish you could see it. I don't know how to turn this filter off.
That's all right. So you're doing full cases for the 600?
Yes.
Is that one piece? The bottom and top are each one piece?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty slick here. Okay, better. There we go.
Sounds like you have a big printer.
Yes, yeah. So, like, here's the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
This is hot shot. But yeah, this is the bottom of it. But yeah, it's fantastic here. Here's you know, I mean, the detail. I don't know if you guys can see that. It is something else. You see the Boba Fett helmet over there?
Mm-hmm.
My house is a mess, so I prefer to use the background. At least my this is my room.
No, this is the way it should be, my friend.
Yeah.
I think we could all identify with this.
Retro.
Yeah.
And this guy, he just wants to be in.
How did I miss that you had a bird on your shoulder until you turned off that? Did anyone else see that? Am I crazy?
I did see the bird, but I thought it was part of the green screen effect.
Yeah, that's
so.
why I do that. Yeah.
That's amazing. See, that is.
Once he was on the other side, you could see it.
Yeah.
That is witchcraft right there.
So, I've got other animals too, so I quite often turn my video off while I'm beating them.
I understand.
What printer do you have that has that kind of print capacity?
So this is my big printer right now. Right there, there's a 5K spool I'm using. That one is the S4 400 by 400. In the other room, I've got the regular Ender 3. The what is it? 200 by 300 by 300, I think it is.
And the 3 is 235 by 235 by 250.
Okay, yep. And then the other.
I have that one. I have the Pro, but yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, I got it. It's a fantastic little printer.
Yeah.
I did some stuff. I've got the all metal hot end. Right, I was having a lot of nozzle clogs, so I worked the Micro Swiss out of Minnesota. Fantastic stuff.
I haven't done that yet.
Aaron, I thought Brent had a resin printer though, didn't he?
Ooh, those are nice. See, that'll kill him. That'll kill my bird with the smells and whatnot.
Better have good ventilation then.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he's got. To be honest
I've
with
got
you.
the Creality, the CR10S. That's
it's basically
right back there.
the Pro version between quotes of the Ender 3, basically.
Now, Dave, are you selling your stuff? I mean, are you actually? I'm assuming you are, right? I mean,
am I selling it? I try to make money for the material, right? I got a buddy in Canada. He makes. Have I made any money? Have I sold? Have I made postage? You know, I mean, but I'm not doing it. You know, I mean, I send Doug stuff. I send a lot of Amiga guys stuff. You know, and I'm not looking to go. What am I gonna $5 for it? Get out of here.
what? Let me ask you. And again, if I don't want to dip in your business there, but what's it cost to print something like an Amiga 600 case, the top and the bottom,
so
and material and whatever?
I want to tell you what it costs. Time.
Yeah.
It's right. So this right here is probably about but the thing is this is not all of the plastic that was used to print this, right? So there's what's called support, right? There was pieces all along here so that this. So I had to pull up, right? So there was a lot of waste material. So this probably cost about $15, maybe $10 almost. But I've been buying the big 5K spool, so I get about 5K for about $90. So this is probably about $10 worth of material.
Really?
Something smaller like. So I made these. These are stands for my 64. You can see how they're gonna groove in there, right? So I can put it like a pet or a 64 standing. These were probably 20 cents. You know.
So it becomes cost effective if you get it to work and you get the. Buy in bulk and you have the right action there.
Yeah, the Boba Fett helmet, now he was probably $15-20. Right next to him, I don't know if you can see, I got the thing from the, I can't, hang on.
Oh, he's grabbed something. Oh, it's a Millennium Falcon.
He doesn't like when I move. So I did a Millennium Falcon, but I just did the half of it, right? Because I like it like it's coming out of the wall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if you guys can see that, but he's got there's stuff inside here. There's stuff in the cockpit. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know
It's
the
crazy.
design. Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like Star Trek stuff.
And this is the guy. So this guy.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So a lot of it too is based upon infill, right? So there's a concept of this is not solid, right? So, but I could make it solid. The more solid you make it, the more material it is, the more heavy it is, the more it costs to do, right? So like some of them default to 10, 20% solid, right? Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the software goes through and they're hollow, except they're not hollow. They're 10%. It does a whole pattern on the inside to make up for that. So what you could do is, right, you could decrease that to, let's say, 5 or 10%. So you could use less material, but it also does electric, right? So that helmet, that guy took about 10 days to print. 10 days.
10 days. You're
10
kidding
days.
me.
Yeah.
So I had a heat. So the bed's got a heater, and then the nozzle's got a heater, right? So the nozzle, I think I ran that guy at about 220 tip, and the bed at about 50, right? So that was 7 days of electric. And here in Phoenix, right, during the summer, we get different rates based upon a day and one. So I'm believing at some point my cost is going to be more towards electric than actual plastic material. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do notice my electricity bill has gone up somewhat.
Yeah.
Not extreme, but yeah, you know.
Hey, David, can you hold that Millennium Falcon up again?
Oh,
you got something in just a second here. Where's that Millennium Falcon?
David, when you're doing such long prints like that last days, or even the rest of the guys, do you guys have your printers hooked up to like a UPS just in case there's a power hit or anything like that?
No, I what's it called? No guts, no glory, right?
I don't have it either, but then again, we don't have that many power bridges over here, thankfully.
Yeah. Now my file server, that's on my UPS, right?
Sure.
But I think there's also, I'm not too electrical, volts and watts and gigs. Due to the power draw, I would have to probably get some kind of a monster, right? I do have firmware. I do have in the firmware, if the power goes out, when it comes back on, it'll pause and resume, right? So I do have some of that. I also have filament run out, right? So if my filament runs out, I can automatically resume. Here, let me grab the helmet. Watch this. Oh!
In case you're wondering, his bird violently attacked him.
Get up here. Get up here.
The first bird attack registered.
Sorry. So you see
It's
how
funny, Coco always has cats. Here we have birds.
I ran out of filament right here, right? And the printer stopped, and I was able to load a different roll. You see that?
Yeah.
So I do try and prepare for the inevitable, but not for power watt usage. What are you going to do with that?
I always have a scale available before I start printing, see how much I have left on the roll. That's the first one.
Yeah, so like I use Octoprint and I use a filament manager, so it kind of has. But like I said, even I stopped paying attention. I just got to run off. So if I run out of film, because I've also had instances where I didn't run out, but the filament broke off.
Oh yeah, fabulous.
So this helps that, right? So if the filament breaks off or whatever, the print stops and it just waits for me to resume.
Hey David, Paul Kitching in the Twitch chat asks, do the printers you're using have memory buffers for those print jobs, or do you have to leave your PC on for days?
So what they're both options, right? So most 3D printers have a SD card slot, and what you could do is you could create the file and save it to an SD card on your computer and carry that SD card over to the printers, plug it in and run it off of there. What I do is I use something called Octoprint, right? It runs off of a Raspberry Pi. So I've got a Raspberry Pi connected to mine that I upload all of the G-code files to the Octoprint, and then I let Octoprint run it out. And I also use then another program called Octofarm to control all of them. I mean, I've got like time-lapse photos of everything going up, and it's pretty slick. So you can do it either way. You can do it a third way and hook your computer directly up, right? So in addition to an SD slot, most printers have a USB connector. So you can do all three, right? You can use an SD card to save yourself any worry. You can connect it to a computer and run it on from the computer, but like you said, if you lose the connection or the computer goes down, your print's done. The same thing with the Octoprint, right? So if the Octoprint goes down while it's printing, printing's done.
There you
Aaron,
go.
you saw that Millennium Falcon. I just want to show you the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I have been making the guys from Bruce Lee. Mine are
It's Ninja. That looks good, dude.
Ninja. I got a little Bruce Lee guy here.
Where's Yamo? You got to heat.
I do got Yamo.
There.
I'm gonna paint him or whatever, but yeah. So
Listen,
yeah, he's doing the art. I'm doing block stuff.
You need to heat your head and get a bed evening gizmo. Like all that stuff's way past me. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but clearly he knows what's going on. If you're walking around with a parrot on your shoulder, you're the man. That's the way I look at it.
I think the takeaway here is I just need to farm out all my printing to him.
I'm stunned that he's actually knocking off full cases like that. I mean, that is impressive. And if you can knock off a full case for under $50, that's something. Because I know what those things cost. I think we all do, and they ain't cheap. So very interesting.
You compare that
injection
to
molding's
checkmate.
expensive.
Yeah,
that checkmate case is expensive, right?
Yeah, it
The
is.
injection mold.
Yeah, it is. I don't know.
I only print cases for my Raspberry Pis and for my Mister.
Yeah, that seems like more manageable for those little things.
Yeah, if you look at the price of those material, that's about €3, €4, something like that maximum.
Now the 3D
That's
printers,
nothing.
they've come down in price, right? I mean, I don't know I'm sure what David uses is pretty heavy duty, but I mean, you can get something that like Rob. Do you remember what you paid for yours?
Mine was like 500 roughly when I got it, but my kid got a Ender 3 Pro, which is a better printer than mine, and I think it was half the price of mine. I mean, it was 300.
Yeah, and the 3 Pro and the new version of it are at about $200.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Then of course you add on a few things, but for less than $300 you have a decent working printer.
But if you could just start selling Yamos like this, I mean, I get a quarter for these guys. I'm only going to sell like 8,000 Bruce Lee guys. On
As I said, Rob, do you have an STL for that? Standard question.
I do. Yeah, that is the question. Anytime you print something, everybody's like,
that's the
STL?
ASL from the 3D printing. Do you have an STL?
I like that. You know, like I said, I'm still learning with the 3D printing stuff. That's more the Brent's bag than it is mine. But it's like I said, I'm becoming a believer. You know, when I first started hearing about this, is for people. You know, I got pinball machines, and so people are using these things to print ramps and whatnot, because some of those pinball parts are nigh impossible to get anymore. And so I heard about 3D printing years and years and years ago, just because people were getting them to make pinball parts and ramps and whatnot. I don't know if any of you guys have pinball machines, but I don't recommend it. But it's not the worst idea. Hey, Dave, just before we move off of printing, I got to ask you, just what do you figure your setup? How much have you invested in that to get where you're at?
So let's say base price plus, right? Because the base price always changes. So my one model, I got the Ender 3 Pro. That was, I think, right now you could probably get it for $220 out the door, right? Something like that. So in addition to that, I've got the bed leveler. I got that from a place in Indiana, 3H3D, something like that. That was like $30. I got a feeder. I got an easy out extruder. That was probably another $20-30. I went with the Micro Swiss hot end. That's I went with the heating element as well, the whole kit. That was probably about $60-70. And then I've got the flex bed. That was probably about another $30. So you're under $500.
Yeah.
Well, that's
and
the 3 Pro now has a flex bed default. Huh?
Yeah, the flex beds are fantastic, man. I love those. I've tried so there's multiple kinds of flex beds, right? There's like the black stuff you get with the Ender 3 off the shelf, right? It's like some magnet kind of thing. And then I get them from this place in Indiana, and they're metal with a PEI covering on it.
Yeah,
They've got a little
color, yeah.
Yeah.
For that. Although nowadays I use what's that called? It's a plastic material that can handle high temperatures, so not flexible, but
yeah. So here, real quick, I have a failed print. Here's the sheet. Let me see if I can turn my video off one more time. Video. And this is the big 400 by 400. So here's a print. I stopped in the middle. I'm making these shelves. I've got a 13 by 13 shelving unit. Look at that. You see that?
Yeah.
This is so you can kind of see how, right, that it didn't really connect good, but you see how over here, this is a first layer. It's a pretty good print. But see how it's all like flexible? A lot of people print on glass and you gotta like pry it off. This, I just click it. You saw how that first layer just peeled right off.
Yeah, this is with the glass. You can put it in the freezer or something, but yeah, then you have to risk that the glass shatters. No, thank you.
And like I say, it's all about getting right. So the big thing is all level, right? Because you got to remember what it's doing is it's extruding a piece of plastic onto here, right? And if this thing is off level, it's going to hit over here and not hit over there. Does that make sense, guys? Right, so you're the big key is that you see how, I don't know if you can see, there's a silver line on here. This is a first layer around the total edge, and this thing's going to come off as one string. You know, this is the key. You want the first layer, because otherwise things don't stick and it pops. And that's, I've tried glass. I've tried a lot of people when they use the glass, they get out the blue masking tape and they get out the glue stick and no, I
have to clean it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you telling me you're going to get better than this with glue? I mean, I think my results can speak for themselves.
Yeah.
Right, so you guys familiar with the C64?
Yeah.
I'm doing parallel converters, right? So these are going to go on the thing. I don't know if you can kind of see that at all. Kind of the converter's just going to like sit right in there, and it's going to plug right into the back of the C64. I'm making parallel converters coming soon, guys. I got a guy in a couple places we're working on them. But yeah, anybody needs any 3D stuff, get a hold of me. I'm not looking to make a bunch of dollars. I'm looking to, help out a bunch of camera guys.
Beautiful. I like that, man. Hey, keep him in mind, y'all.
I know Boat. I saw Boat, man. He's got that broke 1702. I got this brand new plastic. One of them is Amiga 500 color, and the other is Bread Bin 64 color, and it's beautiful.
Listen, he'll just break it again, man. I'm telling you that right now. This sucker, he drops crap and throws crap and explodes it.
That seems to be a specialty, yeah?
Yeah. Did you see him giving somebody help on how to get there? I think it was Kate. He's like, yeah, just plug it in. Don't worry about polarity. No. I just fixed stuff for him because he didn't worry about polarity. So don't expect him to keep something safe.
That's how the magic smoke gets left.
Oh yeah. Listen, his name is synonymous with Magic Smoke. So I like that. Good stuff. 3D printer. Let's move on here because I want to get Edvin in early here. Edvin has got something for us. Edvin, take it away, my friend.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
I don't know. Let's try.
Hello.
Let's see what we can do.
Audible here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Audible here.
I'll just disconnect this and maybe everything goes to hell, but no, it didn't. Okay, and I'll change.
There you go.
Yeah. Just to see if it's the right way around, and it's not, so I have to do this. Yeah, that's right. Okay, we'll have a little tour of the premises.
And then it's actually mirrored now again. If you
It's mirrored. Okay.
Yeah.
That was fine.
Yeah.
Focus on the 1200 again. Let's just see if that's right.
Bingo, you got it, dude.
I'm seeing it's the other way around, but yeah, that's fine. So here are some of my neighbors. They came in.
Hello.
I thought I was going to be alone today, but no. Here are
if they brought drinks, they're good neighbors.
Well, they bring their own drinks.
Well, that's better than my neighbors. So.
There's a sign that Boat made me for the Secret Santa.
That is awesome.
The text, I think, maybe just a blue one, but it says, "Bring all you drink and drink all you bring. Come early, stay late." And so I have a few computers stacked up here. I actually just got a record player as well, an LP player.
Oh, have you been into records, or is this something you're just getting into?
Well, I bought this one, so I had to buy that one as well.
So you got in on that. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very nice. And then I had to go up into the attic at my mom's and get all the crappy music that we listened to in the 90s or 80s or whatever. But it's been fun to try that again. And I actually got one of these the other day for the 1200.
Oh, the vampire.
Oh yeah.
Now, have you stuck that in yet?
Yeah. I forgot to wear the cap. God damn it.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh Lord. Oh jeez.
Hey Aaron, there's some people in the Twitch that are asking, is there a way that we can make Edwin's video full screen? So
there is a way. Curtis, you want to help me out here? What do I need to do?
I think you just right click and then pin it.
Okay, let me try it here.
Yep.
Huzzah? Did that work?
Not yet.
So I think the way it works is you have to pin his video on your side, right? So there's settings on the Zoom client where you can make it so the active participant, you see his video.
Okay, I know right now the people in Twitch are seeing it pinned. I think you'll have to pin it on your own screen.
Yes, from the Zoom.
Okay, there you go. I got it, Edwin. Keep on trucking.
Okay.
Now.
And I've actually got this running yesterday.
Oh no.
Vampire 1200, so you can see it booted up.
What model is that, Edwin?
This is for the 1200.
Oh, okay.
I'll pop open the thing, and you can see. Oh shit.
Oh no!
The joys of live.
Just disconnect power first.
No. Oh, jeez.
Jeez. There you got it. It's
yes.
Unpowered. And I'll try to power it up again and see. Maybe it's gone forever.
Oh no! Please don't say that.
It's fine. It's fine. It's probably just a glitch.
They can't be killed, man.
The first International Computer Club incident.
Yeah.
Right here. The first sacrifice.
I think maybe it's something with the power because it's making a weird sound.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I just give it a few on and offs.
You didn't just bolt your machine, did you?
No.
We'll come back to this later. But I had this problem earlier today, so.
Oh, thank God. I mean, that's not good.
Boot
But...
isn't in and you already have a broken computer.
It's fine. I have more. And I have this Commodore 64, which was actually, I won at the lottery at Amiga Ireland this year.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got this thingy-majig. The ST2IEC, I think it's called.
I love those thingy-majigs.
Nice, nice.
Thingy-majigs are always good.
Yes, sir.
And and the CD32 actually was given for free from a friend.
What a deal.
Good
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a heck of a
That's
friend.
good friend. And he also put in the full motion video cut.
Where'd you get that at?
And I, of course, sold that because I don't need it.
Yeah. Where did you come across that thing, Edwin?
The full motion video cut?
Yeah, because those are super expensive.
He actually bought it with the CD32.
No kidding.
So when he gave it to me, he just gave me the whole lot.
You did pretty good on that deal, I'd wager.
Oh, yeah. And then I bought this one, and that was quite expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It beats the one that comes with it.
Yeah, that's really shitty. The one that come with it.
Yes.
Oh yeah. And I have I had two working CD2s. Now I only have
wow.
Now I only have one not working with the keyboard and of course the wireless mouse.
Those are beauties.
Oh yeah. And it's very nice with the record player on top.
It fits right in.
Yeah, and I have another. So I'm just gonna put on the lights here because it was a little bit dark.
See, that's one thing I can't figure out with all these new modern consoles. Why they make them stick out so much? Like that CD TV looks beautiful. It's like just matches right in there with the rest of the equipment.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then there's
anymore.
And then there's my old Amiga 600 with a Vampire as well. But that I actually have a problem with that Vampire because it doesn't have the power fix, so I have to do something with that to get the newest cores up and running. Because now it's stuck at the core 211, and I can't flush it up to 212 because then it gets unstable. So that concludes the tour of my computer corner. And then it's over to the brew corner.
Wow, look at that.
Real action is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So here's the thing to boil. Boil the brew. And I actually have another one as well. And then I have a pet spider here. He lives there.
Oh, Lord.
And here we have the, of course, the tap. And a little bit of beer.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Now we know why all the friends showed up.
Yeah.
That's right. So that concludes the tour, I think.
Very good, man. Now, when it comes to now, a lot of people are making their own beer. I got to ask, 'cause I don't make my own beer, but I got to ask you, because you brew your own there, right? So,
Yeah.
what are you making there? Do you make? Is it light? Is it that stuff that you could? Is it super thick? What kind of action are you getting out of that thing?
Well, this beer I made, I think it's 7 days ago.
Uh-huh.
It's made with the Kveik, which is a Norwegian yeast. And that's from boil to glass. You can have it in 5 days. And it tastes awesome.
Oh, there
it's a pale ale.
It looks good, man.
Oh, yeah, it's good.
It's amazing. I see a lot of people. Now, this is more of a, if you listen to Pixel Gaiden, those guys are really into their weird beers. And I don't drink a beer myself, but it's a thing. Anybody else in here brew their own? I'm surprised one of you Canadians don't do it. Come on. Stunned by that.
I'm not a big beer guy. I'm a Scotch and whiskey guy.
Oh, see, well, what can I say? I'm right there with you, man. So good stuff, Edwin. I like the cave.
I have a couple of friends who brew their own, so I don't have to brew myself.
You know, around these parts, we don't have a fancy highfalutin brew tank. They pull the radiator off a 1974 Chevy. They hook that up to some pipes they stole out of the neighbor's house. They make some moonshine up in the hills, and they're still making that stuff up there. Some corn whiskey, but it's not something you want to drink with your buddies, because there's probably going to be a big fight at the end of the night when you have enough of that stuff. Anybody in here ever drank corn whiskey or moonshine?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We make some of that up here in the farm communities, too.
Oh, yeah. Universal, right? Everybody's mixing their own. I haven't had it for a while, but, man, it's rugged. Once you drink that, you can pretty much drink anything, I think. So, good stuff. So, Curtis, why don't you just keep the ball rolling here, man? You and Nick have something you want to throw out there, so let's see what you guys have for us.
Okay, I'll first mention, because I didn't mention in the initial introductions, I'm from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada, just in case anybody cared.
Yeah. I think, didn't you say, Jason, didn't you say that's where, yeah, he used to work, didn't you say you were from Saskatoon originally?
Yeah, actually, I go back there for work occasionally.
There you go.
Next time I'm down
we
there,
have to meet up.
Have you guys met up before?
No.
Oh, you got to get together. Come on.
As soon as I knew that Curtis was from Saskatoon, then all of a sudden COVID hit. So it was like, nope, all right.
Exactly. Coincidence? I think not.
It just wants to keep you apart. It was too dangerous, two of you together.
So yeah, I mean, Nick and I have a couple things to present. I mean, Nick's got his own new game project, which actually kind of coincides with the game you guys have been doing on the Amiga side of things on Amigos lately. And then I've got Digger 3. I'll just do a quick little presentation because it just got released yesterday, a day early. And I actually did a patch version for Aaron and Bo to try it on Composite, which isn't quite as good of color as the RGB version, but pretty good. And then I'll just do a quick mention of Nitrous 9, which is kind of my pet project and has been since the 1992 time frame.
Yeah.
So, Nick, did you want to go first, or?
All right. I've just got a little 5-minute video of the stuff I've been doing. So I've been doing some. I've been writing games on the Coco since the 80s. So what I'll show you is just my latest one, which is for the original color computers. So I normally program for the Color Computer 3, which is a more advanced version. But for this one, I thought I'll just go for a bit of nostalgia and go right back to the original. The original doesn't have as good graphics and it doesn't run as fast, so it was a bit of a challenge to make it, to see if I can make it look decent anyway. And you're probably, most of you being Amiga people, are probably familiar with the game on the Amiga called Pipe Dream.
Oh, yes.
Not Pipe Dream, Pipe Mania on
yes.
the Amiga.
It's actually being played right now for a high score challenge, believe it or not.
Yeah, so Curtis tells me. So I'm basically doing a version of that for the original Color Computer. So it's not going to be as nice as the original, but it's the best I can do on an old 1980 computer. So I'll just go ahead and play the video, and I can answer any questions. And if you're still awake after the show, so anyway, let's just see if I can get this technology working. So
beautiful.
Is that screen coming up now?
Yes, it sure did.
Okay, we'll see if this the bandwidth allows enough speed. So here goes. So I do talk in it, so it saves me talking now. So
okay.
So that's the title page. Now, I guess the amazing thing about this is the fact that the Color Computer has no sound chip. So I'm generating 2-channel sound while the computer's running. So for anyone else, they would say big deal, but it's quite an achievement for a color computer.
Are you sharing the sound? Because I don't.
Yeah, make sure you share the sound.
Oh, isn't it? Okay, hang on. Let me just.
Yeah, start her again. I want to hear that.
Maybe I didn't hit the.
Yeah, it's a separate option.
Ah, bastard.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I don't know why they do that. I hate that.
Yeah. All right. So I just closed it. So I'll just have to open it again. So the sound didn't impress anyone then.
No. It sounded like you would usually hear from a Coco.
Yeah.
Nothing. Okay, so I've got it queued. I'll hit the share, and this time, let's see. Share computer sound. Okay, that might help. So I'll just go. Okay, is that coming up?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Now it's a matter of whether the sound's coming through. So that'll kick in a sec. In a sec.
You have to hit play again? It looks like it's paused.
Well, it seems to have paused. Yes.
Third time's a charm.
Here we go. Here we go. I think.
There we go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear anything?
Yep.
Okay. So as I said, this is probably nothing special if you have a Commodore 64 or Amiga or anything. But this computer has no sound chip. So it's doing all this by the CPU and an onboard DAC that's on the color computer.
That sounds good, man.
And now I'll start.
Pipes is based on the game Pipe Mania on the Commodore Amiga and converted to many other platforms. Designed to work on the original color computer architecture with 16K of RAM, it uses an 8-color semi-graphics video mode, features 2-voice music during gameplay, and is played with an analog joystick or the color computer mouse sold by Radio Shack. The object of the game is to score as many points as possible by constructing a pipeline from the starting piece. Pipe sections appear in a dispenser at the top of the screen, and you must connect them so that the water flows through a set number of pipe pieces in each level. The game is written in 6809 assembly language, and I expect to have it completed and available by November this year. So the color computer has an analog joystick, so it's like being able to use a mouse over the screen, and you can position your cursor to any of the boxes, and you lay the current pipe that's in the dispenser at the top. The idea is to build up a track. Now, the water will begin to flow now as that timer goes down, and the idea is I've got to let the water run for a set length of time. Anything over that time is just extra points. So the longer you can make the water flow, the more points you get. So I'll just speed up the video a bit so you don't have to watch the whole. Around here is where I just say, that's enough. So this being the first level, I didn't have to let the water go as far, but I'm trying to go for as many points as I can. The game's still unfinished. There's still a few aspects I haven't put in yet, but this is what I've done so far. Okay, so that completes level 1. A later level, which I won't bother. I don't play this for too long. I just give up.
Question, Nick.
Yeah.
Do you also include a bonus for crossing, etc.? And for
yes, I do.
Crossing?
Yes. So at that T junction, yeah, if you let the water flow back through the other way, you do get a bonus. And I think there's a few other things.
Do you also get the bonus if you do that 5 times in one level? That's in the original.
I'm not sure. I didn't know about that one. What, 5 times as in? I'll just stop the video. Myself. Okay. So what was that? If you do 5 of those.
Do 5 of those crossings in one level, you get. Extra bonus of, I think it's.
Okay. I didn't know about that, but I could. Yeah.
It's a secret bonus, as they say, but it's really there.
Yeah. Well, I could put that in.
I've been playing it a lot lately. So.
It's not a bad game. I mean, I'm not really much into those puzzle type games, but I thought I'll give it a try.
It's one of my favorite types of games, so that's why.
All right. Yeah.
I love this. First of all, I love the music and sound. Yeah. In there, it's great, and to go along with the gameplay.
Yeah, because this is running on, as I said, on an original color computer.
That's
at half the speed of what the newer ones do, and there is no sound chip, and there is no sprite graphics or any of the fancy stuff at all. So, trying to get a little old color computer to, produce the colors, the sounds, and all that was the challenge. So. It's not groundbreaking by most standards, but it is groundbreaking, I guess, for an old computer from 1980.
I think it's now. You said this runs on the original. This will run on the original Coco with 16K.
Yeah, 16K.
Is that and it'll be it'll full sound, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, everything. It's all being. I mean, I'm developing it on a newer color computer, but it's being developed so that it'll work also on the very first color computer that came out.
I think it's very impressive, and also the fact that this is a great game to pick because listen, I don't like puzzle games that much either, but this one is fun, and I think it appeals to people that aren't normally into puzzle stuff like me. I've always liked this game, and when we tried this on Amigos, I remembered it, and it was fun. And this looks good, man. I mean, it looks like you're well into it, and throw it in the sound added bonus, man.
Yeah. It's a good game in that it's a puzzle game. It makes you think a bit, but it's also got this arcade element to it, in that
things really start to build up as the water flows. You're in, it's you're trying to build this pipeline before the water gets to you, and occasionally, you're stuck and you're about to, the water's about to reach you, and then suddenly the right pipes fall in place in the top, and you quickly, get a few more blocks put in there. It gets pretty challenging and quite exciting for a puzzle game.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Hey Nick, while we still got you highlighted here, why don't you tell the crew here about some of your other recent releases, because you've had some great stuff. I mean, Nick is a real superstar.
Oh, I don't know about superstar, but well, I wrote a game called Gunstar, which is basically what's on your T-shirt there at the moment.
Right there.
So I wrote that one for. I mean, the graphics on your T-shirt is not what comes up on the screen.
Exactly the same. It's one of the best looking Coke games I've ever seen. So definitely.
Yeah, well, it's more impressive than the pipes, I guess. But I wrote that one and released that earlier this year, and then after that, I wrote a Rally X clone, which I called the Rally SG, and now, of course, I'm working on pipes. But yeah, I have been writing games for the Color Computer since the '80s. So,
and the Model 1 and 3 before that.
Well, yeah, I started back in 1980. I actually started on the original TRS-80. So that was my first computer, and I had that for about 4 years. And then, of course, the TRS-80 was low res. It was monochrome, and it was really out. By 1984, it was getting to be a bit outdated when every computer coming out was high res in color at that time. The TRS-80 is a relic from 1977, really. So I upgraded and I moved on to the Color Computer because I was a Tandy man, and even though I wanted a Commodore 64 or something, with great graphics and all that, I was a Tandy man, so I just stuck with the Tandy, and here I am. So
it's just a shame it's just a shame you had to move away from Z80, yeah?
Well, Z80 was good. I mean, it was better than the 6502s.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm a Z80 programmer, so
let the flame wars begin.
Yeah, well, that's right. But the 6809 is way better than even a Z80, and of course
I'm pretty impressed with the 6809.
Yeah, we've actually got
an Z80 man.
Yeah, the 6809 has been there is a superseded version called the 6309, which is a 100% compatible chip by Hitachi that also has extra commands and extra features, and that's a common upgrade for color computer users now, where you just replace the CPU, just pop out, or in some cases you have to desolder, and pop in the new one, and bang, you've got a computer which is running exactly the same until you put software that utilizes that extra power. And I think the first major game to ever come out on the Color Computer that uses that processor is that Gunstar that you have on your T-shirt there. So that was the big thing with Gunstar. It did use the extra power, and I don't have a video or anything of the game, but it looks more Amiga-like, you could say. It's got more colors, it's got the scrolling backgrounds, it's got the great sound effects and all that. I might have a video somewhere. I can maybe just...
Yeah, I will mention there was one previous 639 enhanced game before Nixon. It came out in the 90s, but Roger Taylor, the guy who actually did the Mr. Coco Core, but it was basically a redo of a 6809 game, and he just added some complexity to the game. It didn't really show the chip off. It was just enough to get him to what he wanted to get done. Gunstar is the first one that's actually really tried to take total advantage of the chip. I've done some patches to some games to take advantage of the chip, but not from the ground up.
And of course, Curtis has actually developed an operating system. On the Color Computer, we do have a Unix-like operating system called OS 9, which came out, right from day one, and was developed and sold during the Tandy days. But then, of course, Microware, the company that was developing it, moved on to bigger and better things. And so OS 9 for the old 6809 got sort of dropped. And Curtis has picked up on that, and he's actually rewritten the operating system in 6309. So now it's that same operating system with a lot of extras added in, and he'll talk to you more about that later on anyway. So you get to see what a real operating system is on an 8-bit computer, I guess.
Wow, that's a ringing endorsement.
Yeah,
yeah, but well, you know, I figured that you're paying me $100 to say this. So.
That's $100 Canadian, Nick. That's where he's getting you.
It's still more than Australian though. At this point, so.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, Nick's been active in the community pretty well the whole time through. I took a bit of a break from it for a while actually, because I'd gotten kind of burned out with Nitrous 9. Which is the one he's talking about, which in the meantime, when we did Nitrous 9 as a commercial product, starting in 1992, when we discovered the Hitachi chip, because I will mention Hitachi had made this 6309, which is what they call the chip. They were starting to sell this back in 85, 86 when the Coco 3 was first released. But when they released it, apparently the contract with Motorola was don't add anything extra. We just want a low CMOS, low power version of the chip that runs cooler. And what happened there is that they had a lot of room left over because, of course, the technology had changed since 79 when Motorola did the original 6809 CPU. So they added in extra registers and extra commands and a native mode that runs faster and a bunch of other things to it. But that's not what Motorola ordered. So they couldn't actually advertise it. So they advertised it, here's a low power version of the chip, takes 1/10 the power as the 6809. So you can put it in low power designs. And it had an extra speed grade up to 3 megahertz. So that's what they did, is they sold it as a clone of a Motorola chip as a second source that would run in a low power environment. And that's what everybody at the time used it. And then a Japanese magazine, I think called OFM, is from the Fujitsu FM7 and 77, if you guys remember those computers. They discovered the secret parts of the chip. Now, I don't know if they discovered it on their own or if they discovered it because Hitachi kind of slyly on the side told them this was there. So they had a magazine called OFM 88, I think it was 1988. They published all this extra stuff that was on the chip. And nobody in North America really found out about it until 1992 when it was published on one of the listserv servers. And then all of a sudden, that's when everybody started, on the Coco side of things, started upgrading to 639s and started upgrading operating systems. There was a couple different rivals doing that. I was involved in the Nitrous 9 project, which started in late 1992. We were the second operating system version of it to use the chip. And we went through with that as a commercial product until 2001, I think it was. And then by that time, I was kind of burned out from it because we'd been, writing all the drivers and everything else for it for 10 years, a few of us. So at the end of that time period, we decided to release it as public shareable, software before GNU kind of became popular, but we just released it. And some other people took it up and started running it. And then they started backporting all the new features we'd added and back to the 6809. So now we've got both versions of Nitrous 9 that run both chips. And there's been optimizations and additions, as Nick has mentioned. So the operating system itself is running better and faster than the original Tandy Micro 1 ever did, even on the original hardware. So that's kind of what that Nitrous 9 project. And Aaron, you and Bode have seen it a bit there. So it's like a multitasking. It's got a bit of a GUI to it.
Multitasking and multi-user.
Yeah, actually, you can log in off of terminals and stuff too. I remember we used to run our work system. I worked at a printing shop at the time, and we had 8 terminals, serial terminals hooked up to one Coco 3 with a mega RAM and a couple of hard drives, and everybody would log in and log in their jobs. And we had like a multi-room conference chat if you wanted to do a private text chat. You could do one-on-one, or you could do a group chat type thing. And all this was running off a Coco, which for the time was pretty cool. In fact, we replaced a PDP 1134 with the Coco because it ran better and cheaper. So.
That story blew my mind when you told me that. It's incredible what you guys were doing with those Cocos at your business there. It just goes to show you that there could have been too many people that were utilizing the Coco in that way at the time. Would you agree with that?
Not to that extent. I mean,
I think Curtis is the biggest user of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me and Bill, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there were other people using the multitasking. There were other people using the multi-user, just not quite to that extent. Like we had custom-made boards to get 4 serial ports onto one card because we were running out of slots in the multi-pack, et cetera. So, but there were some others that were doing some multi-user stuff with it and multitasking stuff with it, obviously, because the operating system was designed that way. So I do know other people that were using it, just maybe not quite that big.
Mm-hmm.
We were controlling 3 printers simultaneously, a laser and 2 industrial line printers that print 300 to 600 lines per minute. And then we also had the 8 terminals, and then we were doing, you know, custom programming at the same time all this rest of this stuff was running, setting up jobs for the future, etc. So,
and remember, this is on like 8-bit computer that ran at 1.79 megahertz.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
The first time he sent me over, you know, you guys all know me. I'm just an old guy who does some gaming. That's about it. I don't know. I'm not a big OS guy. And Curtis is like, listen, you got to try this out. You know, and he sent me the files over. So I was like, well, I'll give this a whirl. You know, I stuck them on the SD card. And when this sucker came up, and I'm telling you, I was stunned at how awesome it was. I could not freaking believe it. That how amazing it was that this popped up on my Coco. I came, you know, I was a Tandy guy too. I went from the Coco 2 to Coco 3 up into the Tandy SL and the TL, and they used to have a thing called Deskmate on the SL and TL back in the day, which is sort of like a Windows-esque environment for launching stuff. And I thought at the time, you know, this is pretty neat. You know, I never used it. I just went right to DOS, but it was there. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, guys. But this is like a usable, actual thing. I mean, it's good. It's real good. I couldn't believe how good it was. And it's certainly something that you could use in your everyday life if you were a Coco guy and get a lot out of it. Very impressive, Curtis, at the work you guys have done.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on Microware's original work. They're the ones who did the original. We just went through and optimized it like crazy, and then optimized it for that one chip. And then we started adding new features and stuff too. But it's definitely been the work on the shoulders of giants type thing, because Microware created this back in 1980, and it was done on 6809 systems like the gimmicks and stuff that were, you know, industrial, thousands of dollars of you know, extra hardware and stuff. And Tandy decided in 1983, when they released the original 64K Coco and the Coco 2 first came out, they decided, okay, we're making 64K standard. There's a version of OS 9 called Level 1 that runs on a 64K machine. It's a bit more limited. You've actually played Interbank Incident. That's written under that operating system here, just on ARG. And when the Coco 3 came out, they decided to take it at a whole other level. I mean, one, you had a faster CPU, but you had much better hardware. So now we have like 1480 COM screens, but it's remappable screens. So you can put screens anywhere in memory you want. So they made it into a multi-windowing system with, you know, full screen windows or GUI-based windows or whatever you wanted type thing. And that's where we started in. Like, I tried Level 1, but in 64K, you can't do too much. You kind of run out of room. You run a couple of apps, running printers in the background, and all of a sudden I've got no RAM left over to do much else unless you want to start swapping disks, which just slows everything down. So the Coco 3 having the MMU and the expanded memory really helped, and having the, you know, the windowing system really helped too.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a kindred spirit with the Amiga, because quite a few of the people in the Coco actually went to the Amiga, like Tim Jennison, who of course formed New Tech, you know, and did the Video Toaster, etc. on the Amiga. He started doing Coco Max back before that on the original Coco 1.
Oh, that was him?
First. Yes, it was.
I had no idea, because Coco Max was a huge deal when it came out back in the day.
Yep. And then he went to, you know, onto the Amiga. And Nick, there was another guy that moved to the Amiga too that did some. He did Guardian, I think, the Defender clone. And
he did Guardian on. Forget his name, but he also did the game, the program on the Amiga, the MIDI software called Music X. Does anyone know Music X, the MIDI package on the Amiga?
I'm pretty sure I've heard of that.
Anyway, it was a very popular MIDI package on the Amiga back in the 80s, and he's quite well known for that. And he was originally a color computer programmer as well.
Yeah, because the 6809 was probably the most advanced 8-bit CPU. And then when the 68000 came out, that was a chip that they really liked because it was very similar. The Intel chips, most of us Motorola people hated because, you know, you have to do big Indian versus little Indian, and you got these stupid segment registers all over the place. And, you know, it's just a bit of a mess. Whereas the Motorola architecture was much cleaner. So a lot of the Coco people went to the Amiga or the Atari ST or the original Max. Back in the late 80s type thing. And some of us stuck with the Coco 3 because we kind of had, you know, some of the same stuff, and I didn't have to relearn a bunch of things.
That's why the Amiga people and the Coco people get along so good right there.
Yeah. Well, the other reason is that we both hated Microsoft. So that was another reason.
The uniting force.
One specific example, if you guys remember, there was a quote from Bill Gates back, I think, around the Windows 2 or 3 days, where he said, you can't do any serious multitasking with less than 4 meg of RAM. And both Amiga and Coco people went, wait a second here, buddy. That's completely crap type thing. So.
By the way, Curtis, the name you were looking for was David Joyner.
Yes,
that's it. Yeah, that's it.
David Joyner, yeah. And there's other examples too. I mean, not just two off the top of my head, but there's some other ones that went to Amiga and did some pretty amazing things in the Amiga, did pretty amazing things in the Coco before that. So.
And I think I remember the guys that did Buzzard Bait went on to the ST and the Amiga as well. They did some stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and plus the guys that did Time Bandit, that's another one.
Yeah,
they ported that over.
There's
to
a few
Amiga
that
DOS.
did. Yeah.
Very good.
I've actually found a promo video of that Gunstar that's on your T-shirt. So
yeah, fire it up, Nick.
Go ahead, fire that up, and I'll fire up Nitrous 9 after.
Yeah, it's only a short video again. So, and I've got the sound on this time, so I'll just play the video.
Very good.
Maybe if I hit play.
Yep.
Now, I'll jump forward a bit because there's a bit of talking later on. So. Gunstar is an action arcade type game of the vertical shoot 'em up variety. It is programmed in assembly language for the Tandy Color Computer 3 and requires a minimum of 512K RAM and a 6309 CPU. Now, I'll just. I have been a big fan of vertical shoot 'em ups since the early 80s. Gunstar, don't want to see that. As well as the Color Computer 3, I'm fitted by the speed, code size, and flexibility of the 6309's TFM block copy command. This block copy command has the advantage of working seamlessly with the interrupt-driven 2-channel sound routine without using any of the normal 6. Requires you to gather a code comprised for survival. Once you escape Earth, you navigate your way through an asteroid belt to activate the Stargate that will teleport you across the galaxy to the aliens' home world. Activating the Stargate requires you to gather a code comprised of 16 alien symbols or glyphs. Once you have compiled the required code, you must do battle with a boss called the Gatekeeper, who acts as the guardian of the gate. Once you destroy him, the gate is activated and you are teleported to the aliens' home world. The aliens' homeworld is a very barren and industrialized environment, and the battle continues here, intensifying as more aliens join the fight. In the last level, you fly over more of the industrialized landscape and a production facility with operating machinery as you continue to approach your mission target. Anyway, the battle continues until you are finally confronted by the supreme alien overlord, flanked by defending aliens determined to destroy you. The outcome of this final battle will determine the fate of humanity. So as you can see, it's a very Amiga looking type game because I get a lot of inspiration from the Amiga. I am an Amiga person as well. I have an Amiga 4000. So I'm a big fan of all those shoot 'em ups on the Amiga, the battle squadrons, the SWIV and all those. So hence why I was interested in doing that sort of game on a little 8-bit color computer and trying to get it to be as Amiga-like as I could. So
I think you pulled it off. You know, it's I'd say that game's responsible for a lot of processor upgrades. It's funny. I got an email from or a Twitter or something from Cody over at Pixel Gaiden. He's like, "Hey, should I upgrade this processor? It looks like it's kind of hard." I'm like, "Listen, don't even think about it. Just do it. It's not that bad." He's like, "Well, is there a lot of stuff out there?" I was like, "It doesn't matter. Just do it. If you don't do it now, you're going to do it later. So you might as well just go ahead and do it because it's worth it." And that game was a pivotal reason why a lot of people probably pulled them up. I love that. I loved it. Loved the game. I like all your stuff, Nick. I think
you loved it so much you bought a T-shirt.
Well, hey, listen. It's
actually, Aaron, you were one of the beta testers.
I was, yes. and the T-shirt is awesome. Listen, I support the game, but I mean, if your merch is no good, I'm not buying. I'm not just going. You know how cheap I am. Are you kidding me, guys? I don't just go out and buy anything. You know, so it was top shelf. I love that game, man. Good stuff. Except for the asteroid level's brutal. I will say that. Those glyphs, when you've got no memory, that's brutal, man.
There is 0 space on your shelf. I don't know how discriminatory your spending is.
Well, Touche.
Yeah, you can't fit anything else on any of those shelves.
Oh, I can and I will. That sounds like a challenge.
I think he's playing and just weighting it down, so eventually the floor caves in, and then it goes into the basement. Then he has 2 levels.
Believe it or not, that bookcase came off the mountain. So that's how cheap I am. I pulled that thing off Mud Mountain to bring down here. So it's held up through a lot of moving.
I will mention too, the 6309. I've upgraded, I think, about a half a dozen Coco 1 and 2 games now. So if you have a Coco 1 and 2, and usually those are socketed, so if you're not into soldering, it's a lot easier to upgrade. But you'll get
Mine
some
wasn't.
games on some of those too. So
yeah, Curtis is doing a great job. Curtis, while we're here, show us your OS video here. I think you've got something here for us.
Oh, actually, I'm going to do a live presentation.
Oh, even better.
Always goes smooth.
Yeah, just like mine.
The floor is yours.
So this is running the emulator, but it runs the same in the real hardware. So are you guys seeing that screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got the emulator currently running as a 2 meg machine, which is a standard upgrade for Coco 3s these days. And then if you want to take a look, there's a module directory. This is all the drivers and programs that are currently loaded into RAM. So a nice little 40-column screen. And if I hit the clear key on the Coco, I can switch to an 80-column screen, and this will show the processes that are currently running and what window they're on. So there's a term window, which is the base start one. There's a window 1, window 2. You can have up to 31 different windows if you want. You can have them a mix of full screen or on the same screen at the same time. These are all hardware text windows at this point. But you can also run the graphical shell, which I think was probably Aaron's favorite part of it.
Yeah, you got that right.
So basically, this is a point and click. Now, this is right now is the 6809 version. This is not the sped up 6309 version, because I'm trying to make the 6809 version as fast as I can to get it up to a certain point where people can write software for either and not have to worry about it being too slow. So there's a lot of speed ups from the original. And then also, if you want to, you can switch it to an 80-column screen, which fits a bit more. Now, this you probably need a monitor like a VGA or an RGB monitor or something like that. It's a little bit hard to read on a standard composite monitor at this point. But we've got like demos. Like I'll do the one that probably Amiga people are probably the most familiar with here. The standard bouncing ball demo. This is written in BASIC. There's a language for Nitrous 9 and OS 9 that's called BASIC 09. It was actually developed before the operating system was. Microwave got contracted by Motorola themselves. They said, we're coming up with the 6809 chip. It's really a chip designed to do languages. It's got 2 stacks. So you have one for the system and one for the actual, programming languages you want to do. So it was very friendly to C compilers and Pascal and stuff. They said, we want to do a BASIC that actually takes advantage of this. So they worked together. The guys actually manufacturing the chip and designing the chip worked with Microwave on the software, and they simultaneously came up with BASIC 09 and the 6809 CPU itself. So this actually was finished originally, the first version in 79, and the version on the Coco was based on the 1980 version, which had a couple minor modifications. So this is running one of those. And it's just loading a bunch of files with the graphics for the background for the animation.
Now, what is this emulation simulating system-wise in terms of memory and processing power, Curtis?
Right now, I've got it as a 6809, standard 1.78 megahertz speed. And basically just a Coco 3 with 2 mega RAM. It doesn't need 2 meg for the demos I'm doing here. I could have ran it at 512, but that's basically just a little basic program. So it's just throwing this animated ball and putting it underneath. And in the meantime, I can go back to my GUI, or I can go over here and see what's running now. Oh, now I've got the bounce program running. I've got G shell running.
Impressive. For the amount of memory you're dealing with, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and actually, I'm not using that much memory right now, so let's take a look. I've got 1640K free out of 2048, so I'm not even using 512K yet with all of this running. So, but that's basically what Nitrous 9 does. There's some games and stuff on it. I won't bother showing those here because they'll suck compared to Nick's, obviously, but. Or even the other one I'll be demoing.
You proved Bill Gates wrong in his
big time.
Oh yeah. That, like I said, I remember it because the Amiga, the Atari ST, and the Coco users all lambasted them on that one. It's just because you guys write sloppy code for such a crappy CPU. That's why you need 4 meg type of thing. So yeah, it was a bit of a war.
I think it's very
we've always been kindred spirits. There was a version of like OS 9 after the 689 version was done. Motorola went to the 68000 series. And they actually had made a version for the Mac, they had made a version for the Amiga, and they'd made a version for the Atari ST. I think out of those three, the ST one was probably the most popular, but more so in Europe. I don't think the other two really took off because they had their own operating systems that were kind of doing the same thing anyway. The one thing about OS 9 versus most of the other multitasking operating systems at the time, though, was that it was real-time operating system. Your interrupts on hardware actually had a specific time they would get completed before, you know, it had a reaction time that was guaranteed, basically. So it was meant for real-time applications. So it was a lot of industrial, you know, controllers and stuff running, you know, various kinds of equipment and things. That's what it was designed for. We just happened to get a GUI and stuff out front of it. And there was other GUIs for the 68000 side, like G Windows was actually even more advanced than this. It was much more like a, you know, the modern, you know, Amigos workbench type stuff is. And multi-user, of course, was built in right from day one, even with the level 1 version of it as well. So anyway, that's been my pet project for 10 years as a commercial product. And then we released it back to the community. And when I came back into it in 2015, 2016, Bill and I, two of the original authors, really got heavily involved in it, and we're kind of spearheading the ease of use version of it. The one thing about OS 9 was I was always a kind of a geek's operating system. It was kind of like a Linux, Unix style thing. And we wanted to make it friendly for average people that, you know, want to maybe just play games or fiddle with BASIC or something like that, not have to learn all those arcane commands and setting up directories and paths and all that kind of stuff. So that's what the goal is. But we're also trying to upgrade it for the geeks too. So we're trying to cover both bases here.
Very good. As an average person, I can say that it works.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty simple. I mean the double clicking and selecting stuff is just like you would normally expect. So
now they're probably impressed by the trash can in the bottom left there.
Yeah, Nick never lets me forget about that because Nick designed that. And just for Nick, I'll zoom it up here by switching back to the 40 column mode. So.
Very nice.
I'm a Unix sysadmin by trade originally, and even I like it. So it's not dumbed down in any way. It's still open enough to do everything you want with it. So even
yeah.
Hey Curtis, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So are there any features that are in the EOU edition that your power users just hate and they wish that you would remove because they feel like it just dumbs it down beyond all recognition, and it's an affront to Cocoa users everywhere?
Not really. I mean, the underlying OS is still the same as the core. We've done some stuff with the GUI stuff that they probably don't care about, they never touch. But we've been speeding up the graphics system and the text system on the graphics screens enough that actually it's not that bad to use if you're running in a graphics screen. So some of them are actually getting kind of interested in it because they're actually be able to do some stuff in graphics. The original version of this was literally, as far as drawing text and graphics like this, the screen was 4 to 5 times slower than it is now. And back then, yeah, I would have sided with them. I would have been one of the hardcore geeks like, why do you ever run a graphics window? That's just a waste of memory and slow. And it's not so much more. So now they can actually do stuff that's useful for a geek. And all the underlying stuff, I mean, if you want to run, you know, all these different utilities and stuff, I mean, there's a ton of stuff. I'll just show you the commands directory. And this isn't complete yet. We're adding stuff as we test it. But here's all the software, the geek stuff that's kind of built in. And we've got, you know, zipping utilities and, you know, LZH and all kinds of things. There's compilers, C compilers, Pascal compilers. We're trying to find where the copies of the original Fortran and COBOL compilers. We have a CPM emulator in here if you want to run really, really slow emulation of a Z80 CPM system. So there's a ton of stuff in it. So the hardcore geeks don't mind because we've been speeding up some of their stuff too. And I've been adding new, you know, API calls and stuff for them to be able to call. So they're getting advantages too. We're concentrating more on the front end than probably has been done in the past, but we're also doing stuff that actually helps the hardcore users as well. So we haven't had too much blowback on it.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear it because I was afraid that the hardcore group would just look at this and say, oh, it's just window dressing that's taking up too much system overhead. I want nothing to do with this.
When we first announced and we put the first alpha, which is basically just setting up the GUI properly because a lot of the distributions done before that didn't even bother. We did get a little bit of that. But once they saw we were serious about the underlying underpinnings as well and speeding those up and adding new functions and new features, then they kind of came on board somewhat. So it's pretty friendly. It's not too bad right now. And some of them actually are starting to contribute. So the next beta 6, I'm actually getting some, you know, Linux geek style people writing some of the upcoming software we're adding on to the next beta coming out before the end of the year. So actually they're getting involved, which is a really good thing for us.
Very good. Hey, before we go off this, Z9K9 in the chat asks, did you have the source code for the original OS 9 in the beginning, or did you reverse engineer it or something? That's his
we
question.
reverse engineered the whole damn thing.
There you
we reverse
go.
engineered the original Tandy microware stuff. We reverse engineered third-party drivers for other hardware at the time. And some of them at first were a bit upset. You took apart our hard drive driver. Why did you do that? And when they saw the speed increases we managed to get, because some of those things we sped up like 150, 200%, then they said, oh, no, go ahead. We can sell more stuff this way. So it ended up being, but yeah, everything was reverse engineered from scratch.
Beautiful.
The entire OS.
Beautiful, man. All right, I like it.
Because we're nuts, I guess.
Clearly, Curtis, you're out of your mind.
Nuts.
I love it.
So I'll stop sharing that, and I'll fire up Digger 3, which is the last thing I'll present for the
Yes.
which just got released yesterday. Boat and Aaron, have either of you had a chance to try my hacked composite, which is not official from Chet? But
I haven't. I did play this. Gosh, it seems like it's been 6 months ago, Curtis. When early on, I played like a beta release of this, and it was good then. And I watched this being played, and it looks great. So I'm anxious to get hold of, anxious to try playing the one you messed with. I watched this on the Coco Talk as well. I think this is a tremendous game.
Yeah, I would rank this in the top. I would rank this up with Gunstar. Actually, it's one of the best Coco 3 games. This one does not require 639. It does require 512K in a Coco 3.
Which that's peanuts these days.
Yeah, my emulator here doesn't like putting sound out through the share, so I'll put my mic up closer to the speaker so you can hear a little bit of digitized sound effects.
All right.
But it has like parallax scrolling and stuff. It looks very much like an Amiga game. And then the programmer Chet, I mean, he's been involved with the Coco almost as long as me, and he's a much better programmer than I am. He's done some amazing stuff even in the past. So, and this is free. He released it for free. So anybody who's got a Coco 3 emulator, either VCC or MAME or anything like that, or if they have any of the hardware stuff like a Coco 3 FPGA or the Mister or the Matchbox Coco or these other ones, it should run on every single one of those. So if you guys want to try it out just as a software, exercise in MAME or something, it's a free download on Facebook. It should be up on the Color Computer archive soon too as well. Okay. You guys seen that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so and as a matter of fact, the game itself takes 512K like completely once it's up and running, and he fit it all onto a 153K disc with room to spare. So he has some pretty good compression.
Yeah, no kidding. He's a pretty sharp guy.
He is. I've known Chet since the mid 80s, late 80s, I think. I met him at Rainbow Fest in Chicago back in 88, I think. In fact, he even put my name in the credits, which I just discovered today when I was prepping for the show. I didn't even know that.
Lovely.
So I helped beta test some of the earlier version of it. So
now, I think when I was playing this on my stream, Curtis, you said, were the colors not correct on my version?
Not even close.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Now, what was causing that? My lack of RGB?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
now Chet's a purist. Like, he wants the game to look as good as possible, and he's using such subtle shading and stuff here on some of the blues and stuff in the background, which composite doesn't let you really do. So he said, I'm not making a composite version of this. It's RGB or go home. Now, I'm not quite that militaristic about it. So when he released it on the first night, was it last night or 2 nights ago, I actually went and hacked it along with Nick.
Yeah.
We were on a Discord call, and we tried to get it as close as we could. It's not exact,
Don't
but
get
it's
mean
much
on
better.
the crime.
Yeah, you've been implemented on that
Under
one,
the bus
dude.
you go, Nick. So we hacked it as close as we could. So both the version that I sent you guys yesterday should be not exactly like this, but it'll be not too bad. It's much closer than what you were playing.
That's great. I will definitely check it out.
This is just a beautiful game. There's lots. You could clearly he was inspired by Lode Runner, which is funny because that's something that Rob just covered last week on his show. Certainly Lode Runner was involved in the inspiration for this, but he really expanded on and expounded upon it.
Yeah, I don't know how well the sound's showing up there. I'm cutting at the mic in, but you can see that parallax scrolling up above it in the blue there.
I mean, it's amazing. It looks.
Wow, I didn't
notice
notice that at all when I was playing it. That's a really cool effect. This is definitely, I mean, among the best looking Coco 3 games I've ever seen. I mean, it looks super sharp. Maybe I'm just not used to looking at things through ultra RGB vision, but it really looks good.
He's got a fleet of homers
you
on
never
him.
go back, and I'm sure the Amiga guys can vouch for me on that too.
This looks beautiful. The only negative thing is now I may have to buy a Coco to play this.
Oh, that's not negative, my friend.
Emulators. I'm playing it in VCC right now, so you can get around it if you want to.
I don't know if you.
I played on the Mister and it works there too.
Yeah, it's the Coco. I don't know if I think I mentioned this on the show the other day. This is America's answer to the Spectrum. It's just the computer that the people overseas in Europe should be picking up from America. This is the hidden gem of computers, because there's so many good things on it, and they keep coming. Between stuff like this and the stuff Nick's doing, I mean, we came in right at the right time, or me and Boat did. We came back just in time to get in on this stuff, and it's great. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I view the two of them both as kind of underdog computers.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't the hugely popular like a Mac or a PC type thing, but they had a very devoted following. They both did. I both do still to this day.
Now I haven't played this since he updated it. You know, is it still super hard, Curtis?
Yeah, I mean the first 10 levels are basically the same, and now he says over 30. He won't tell you how many. You'll have to earn your way to that. And he's got warp codes, so once you solve one, you can skip ahead. The first warp codes are just numbered, so that's actually quite easy. But the other ones get scrambled, so it's a little bit harder there.
I saw him on Coco Talk, or on one of y'all's shows, and he actually revels in the evil of this game, doesn't he? Right? I mean, he's proud of his evil. He's that kind of. He's sort of a Bond villain type guy.
Yes. Yeah, he even said to us during Coco Talk too, like he was talking about. He said, "You guys are all really gonna hate me when you get to the last level, because I guess it's just so vicious."
He's been working on this
for traps like the original one where you fall through, and he's got all kinds of things. But he added a lot of stuff to Load Runner too. Like he's got bats, like you can see one flying there, and he's also got these sludge slime monsters that pop out of the ground, and he's got spikes that pop out of the ground to kill you. And he is evil. Let's just be honest.
There's also a small change in the digging mechanic. In this game, you can actually dig sideways if you're in the ground.
Yeah, and on later levels, you have to do that, or you won't make it out. So.
Yeah.
The detail's fantastic. I could see like he's got a nose. I could see his facial expression almost. It's pretty slick.
Yeah, he really went to work. How long has he been?
One guy's got the suspenders.
How long has he been working on this thing, guys?
About a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
About right, Nick?
Yeah, it's about right. Yeah.
And it's a sequel to his earlier Digger 2, which is a sequel to Gold Runner 2000, which is a sequel to Digger the original. I did it again. I'm an idiot.
At least you're consistent. You're consistent, dude.
I do that all the time in that same level.
I mean, it almost looks like he's looking down when he's falling down. It's a great effect.
Yeah, and he's got digitized speech samples.
Yeah,
like you can't touch this and stuff.
And so, as I recall, some of the different levels, the parallax is more pronounced.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can get up to one of those quickly here. I don't want to take up the show here. So
those
level and see if there's more.
Those slime
remember,
grates.
This computer is running at 1.79 megahertz. It doesn't have sprites. It doesn't have blitters, and it doesn't even have a sound chip.
Yeah, for the British, it's very similar in specs to a Spectrum, basically. Also,
yeah, the original Spectrum.
Yeah, similar to the 48K Spectrum.
It's the same parallax scrolling. It's not the better one. There's some better contrast colors. Parallax scrolling that works better than this little bit I'm going over there.
Was it level 7 or was it again that had a bit more different colors? I'm not sure now.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not going to play the whole game. It's free, so you guys can just download it. If you have MAME already set up, or if you have the VCC emulator, you can just download it and start playing.
Yeah, and VCC is a good emulator. This is the Coco emulates pretty well in MES or MAME if that's your cup of tea. But you cover either way. VCC is a lot easier to use, I think, than MES or MAME.
Yeah, a lot easier to set up too. But if you already have MAME set up, actually, it's more accurate than VCC is.
Yeah, I'll have to add this to my CoinOps front end as well. It's very impressive. Good stuff.
One thing I have to remember though is give it enough memory, because by default they usually set up for less memory most of the time.
Oh yeah, good point.
You need 512, I think, in this one. Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a Coco 3 right now and you don't have the memory upgraded and the processor upgraded, that's a gimme. You got to go do that right away. I mean, because now's the time. It's funny when I asked Curtis. when I asked Curtis when I first got mine, I'm like, do I need to bother with this? And he's like, well, yeah, you need to do it right away. He goes, because stuff's coming out. And I was like, oh, I've heard that before, but you're a man of your word, Curtis.
Yeah. Well, like the 609, like Nick's designed a game specifically for it. Roger Taylor did too. The way Nitrous 9 works is because the entire operating system, a lot of the games call operating system functions. So once you do the upgrade and you boot up the 639 version of Nitrous 9, which is faster than the one I showed you earlier, then all of your games get a speed up. So then you've got it built in. And if you want to write for the chip specifically, you can get an even more incredible speed up. Like I sped up Rescue on Fractals, I think about 50% from the original, just tweaking it.
That's a fun game,
Coco
too.
1 and 2 games like Color Car Action and some of the others, those got greatly sped up as well.
Yeah, trust me.
And this chip is not like an accelerator like you find on other computers. It doesn't accelerate anything, actually. The CPU still runs at the same speed that the original did. The difference is the 6309 is internally optimized. So it runs the same instructions in less cycles. Still at the same clock speed, but in less cycles. So that's where the speed comes from.
Very good.
From what I hear, it basically does the same as in the PC world in the olden days. The NEC V20 or V30, that's for the 8088 or the 80.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
Basically, speed it up a bit, plus give a few more commands.
Yep, all at the same clock speed without changing the clock speed.
Yeah, so you don't have to swap hardware, resync if your video signal's based on the CPU speed or whatever type thing. It just
uses less power, runs cooler.
One thing I would like to see, and maybe some of you guys on the panel here have these, but the Vectrix uses a 6809 as well. And I would love to see what some of the Vectrix programmers could do with the 639 popped in there, because they could do the same speed ups we're doing.
Really?
And the Fujitsu FM7 and 77, same thing.
Oh, is that so? You're talking about the same processors in the Vectrix that you could pop it out with the new one?
Yep.
No kidding. I wonder if that's been. I'm in some Vectrix communities. I never really saw that come up. I may have to ask about that, because that is something. Because I love the Vectrix. It's super awesome. So I'm definitely going to delve into that.
I'd really like to see what they can do with that, because just kicking in native mode, which gives you about a 10 to 15% speed increase by dropping the number of cycles
without doing anything extra. Yeah.
But then you've also got hardware divide built in instead of just a 8-bit multiply, and you've got built-in bit commands that weren't there before, though we had a few to start with. The transfer memory command, which is similar to Nick, you have to tell me the Z80 equivalent.
LDIR.
Yeah, so it's an interruptible mass transfer of memory from a port or from memory to memory, much faster than you can do.
Yeah.
It may be tough.
So I'd love to see what the Vectrix and Fujitsu FM777 people could do with it. It would just be some amazing stuff, I think.
It might be tough to talk people into popping open their expensive, rare Vectrixes and swapping out the processor. I will say that's the only day I was just thinking about that, because on the Coco it wasn't that big a deal. I'd be a lot more unsure of myself when I was popping open the back of my Vectrix and going to work on that thing. I can see.
Well, Aaron, have you been in your Vectrix? Like, is the CPU socketed or is it soldered on the motherboard?
Be honest with you, I have not ever opened it, and mine needs to be worked on because my reset switch got stuck. So I need to get in there and fool with it. But you could ask Boat. I'm afraid to even play the Vectrix half the time because they're super duper rare.
The last time you attempted to power it on, it broke.
Yeah, it was when your buddy was in town. So
yeah. He was super. Yeah, my buddy from Korea was in town. He was super excited to see the vector graphics.
He saw some of them, and then it went
we
south.
played a game, and then Aaron's like, "Well, you think that was cool? Check this out." And he went to reset it, and the reset button just lodged itself.
I should never say that. That's the problem. I should never say that because I always get hosed. Hey, listen, look, Bode and Graham are here too. Hey, Graham, how are you doing, my friend? Glad to see you made it in. I can't hear you. I don't know if you're talking. Let me see if I've got you muted.
Let's try that. Is that
there
better?
You go. What's the good word, Graham?
Hey.
Glad you could make it in. Graham, tell everybody where you're at.
Sydney, Australia.
There you go. Another Australian in the house. And Boat, I see you crept in as well. What kind of shirt you got on there, Boat?
This is the shirt that I wear to every mountain dulcimer jam I go to.
Is that what they sort of a Hawaiian number?
Yeah, it is, man.
Is that part of the Weird Al collection?
Yeah.
It is. It's his signature series.
Bam. There. I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah, there you go. Good. Glad you could join us, Graham, and Bo, I'm glad you could creep back in too. Hey, that was good stuff, guys. We're going to go ahead and roll on. If you're ready to go, Flack, we will shift over to you. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I tell you what, I got to be smarter about where I choose to be in the lineup. So far, I've had to follow some of the best 3D prints I ever saw, and now I'm going after that game. So I picked some short straws today. Let's see. Let's share computer sound.
Yeah. It was cool. You did Load Runner actually on your channel here just recently too, so that was kind of timely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Some things happen that way. You'll see several retro shows. When I very first started podcasting, I was convinced people were copying me. Like I would put out a show, and then somebody else would do something similar. And I was like, oh, they're listening to my show. Of course, then when it happened to me, you know, when I followed somebody else's show, and I'd already been working on it, you know, so it's just funny that sometimes those things. Just go in cycles like that. But yeah, that game looks fantastic, and I don't have a Mister, I have an original Mist, so I may see if that can do that, and if not, that may be what pushes me over the edge to upgrade to a Mister.
Now that was the first one that was released, right? In terms that was one of the earlier ones, right?
Yeah, it is. It's so there's a few differences. I mean, one of the differences for me is that it only has VGA output, you know.
What are you looking for?
Well, I think HDMI would be more convenient.
Yeah.
You know, for bigger
yeah,
screens.
VGAs are starting to fade away, so
yeah. And then you know, the Mister, obviously all the upgraded RAM that you can throw in. I see all the people doing like Neo Geo stuff and things like that with the Mister, which I don't think the Mist. I mean, really, the biggest drawback with the Mist is that it's kind of dead. Like all the developers moved away to the Mister, so it doesn't. There hasn't been any updates for stuff. So,
what's the ceiling on the Mist in terms of emulation? Do you think it's right there at the Neo Geos where it starts to chug a little bit?
You know, I was surprised. Actually, I was. It just depends on the cores, you know, what's out there. So really the Amiga and the ST are, you know, the biggest things that I run on them. I know there was some development for, there was talk about, you know, I guess like bigger cores or whatever like that, but that was kind of where I stopped on it.
Personally, I don't understand the mystery of that, right? If I'm going for something like emulation, I get Raspberry Pi and like the latest Retro Pi, and it's got 500 different systems and everything. Right? I've watched plenty of Mister videos, and I don't know what the benefit of the Mister is over a Raspberry Pi with something like Retro Pi. And I don't want to start a fight. I love everything. I'll probably eventually buy one. If somebody has one, why is it better than a Raspberry Pi?
It's a valid question.
Yeah, it's a valid question. I don't really know, but when I have both Raspberry Pi with Raspberry Pi Pi 4, and I have a Mister, and when I'm working on a Mister with certain emulation I'm used to, it just feels more fluid, more exact somehow.
I view the Raspberry Pi versus the Mister as the Raspberry Pi is an emulator and the Mister is a simulator. So it simulates more accurately the chip architecture underneath, even though I think it's just that step above emulation in that it's not a code for code port running on something that's foreign.
Sure. Yeah, Mister's more of a hardware emulator.
It's emulation on the hardware level. It basically, if they design a chip nowadays, they design it in FPGA, and this is basically the other way around. Take a chip and put in that FPGA, an existing chip or set of chips.
When I bought my Mist, the Raspberry 2 was what was out. So, you know, a lot of things ran better on the Mist that ran on the Raspberry Pi 2. But now that the 4 is out, you know, obviously emulation gets better and better. So, yeah, it does seem to have a bit of a more authentic feel. And sometimes I'll see things like scrolls or parallax scrolling or things that look different on the Mist, and I assume it's just the way that the code handles the code versus emulation, you know. So
timing, you have, of course, the timing is different because on an emulation you are dependent on the OS for when you get time, while on the Mist or Mister.
But if you
that chip is just the machine. basically.
Yeah, if you hadn't played either one in 20 years and walked into a room and saw them side by side, you'd probably be hard pressed.
They both work great. They both work great. But,
And if you're looking for a nice soft entry into retro, the Pi is the cheaper way to go anyway.
As I said, I have it too, and I have it set up too. But most of the stuff these days I do in the Mister. The one disadvantage the Mister has is it's real between quotes emulation on hardware level, so you don't have pause options and such, which you do have on the Raspberry Pi, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, okay. So, hey, Bo, can you see my little screen here?
I can see it, man. It looks great.
Awesome. Okay. So this is I just put this together for something, and I have something to share. And actually, I think when I signed up, there weren't too many people. So I guess between this and the next meeting, I'm going to go write an awesome game. So my presentation will be better than this.
Get busy, Flack.
Yeah, but this is something I put together about a year ago and have kind of forgot about. And then over the past couple of weeks, I've had to dive back in and make some changes. So it's kind of been on my mind. So anyway, this is just a little computer project I put together called Poster Pi. All right, let me get over here. So I recently built a workshop out behind my house. I didn't build it. I paid people to build a workshop out behind my house. And it's divided in half. So the front half is a workshop, but the whole back half is basically a man cave. It's a big movie room, and then there's like a movie lobby. So I did all the easy stuff. Like I bought, a big TV and a bunch of speakers, and that stuff is easy. But when it comes to decorating it, like I didn't really have any good ideas, of like, it just kind of looks plain, And so when I went online and started looking at other people's movie rooms, this is what I found. And I found every single person that has a movie room has cool posters put up, that picture on the left, that guy has all his posters and frames, and he's got cool lights shining down on it. That one on the right, again, has posters, and that one has what I call the cool glow factor. It's got the cool blue lights and stuff. And I'm like, that's what I wanted for my movie room, So then I started looking up the price of movie poster frames. And so that the one on the top left, that one was $900, but it's on sale for $399. I think they think
what a steal.
Right. You got a movie room and all of a sudden,
you're
bleeding money. Down on the bottom left, you can see those cool ones with the blue light. Those are $545 each.
Wow.
But if there is a coupon, you can see right under the price for $2 off. So you can get that. Now the one on the right, can you see my mouse pointer?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because I'm pointing at random things here. This one was only $100, and then it's $104 shipping. And this
That's
is
why
like
they get you.
Right, one of the more reasonable ones that I found, and this is literally a board with a sheet of glass and a light around it.
Flack, one thing I was wondering is, did you investigate any? I don't know. The theater seems like they're going out of business every day, because of COVID and just because nobody goes to the movies much anymore. Did you find any sources of actual, like, direct from old movie theater frames?
I have, and in fact, the theater in my town has recently gone out of business, and all the stuff that they have, all the old stock, they basically are auctioning. I mean, it was more than this. For an actual, authentic ones. There was one that was 3 posters wide. They wanted $1,500 for.
So you weren't going to be getting a deal going that way.
No.
Okay.
Although we could talk offline later, but I will tell you that some of your podcasts yesterday about covert missions has come up.
Oh,
about the theater.
Oh Lord, no! Why did I? Oh.
There's gonna be a video about that in the next episode, right?
No.
Exactly right. It's me. Will they let you Zoom from jail? I don't know. So and you can see the other thing that's the problem with this plan is down in the bottom right. One of the first posters I would have to have is Star Wars. This is, of course, an original one, and this is maybe an extreme case, but this is on eBay right now. This poster is going for $100 plus $20 shipping. So every time you order posters online, they have to put them in the tube, and they're $10 to $20. Mm-hmm. And really, like, we're computer guys, right? Like, I don't want to be in the business of storing posters, unfolding posters, changing out posters. You know, I'm kind of fickle. I want to go out to the movie room and change the poster, you know, daily sometimes. So that's not real. I just don't want to get into that business, you know. So I had two things that kind of inspired me at the same time. The first, this picture on the left, this is an older picture from a few Christmases ago. But in the background, you can see on the living room TV, one thing I do every Christmas is I set up a slideshow. I take all the family photos and vacations and stuff, and I build this little slideshow, and I put it on the server, and I send it to the TV. So I was kind of thinking about that. And then I had this other revelation, which is if you take a flat screen TV or a monitor and rotate it 90 degrees, it looks a lot like a movie poster. So I kind of put those two things together, and that's when I came up with the idea for Poster Pi. So essentially what Poster Pi is a movie poster display system that runs off of a Raspberry Pi. Now, I've already had some people contact me and say they've come up with some other uses for it. So, you know, it could be more than just movie posters. When I started this, I had a few criteria that I came up with. Number one, it has to be hassle-free. Like, I want to turn this thing on, and then I just want it to work. I don't want to be logging into the command line every time I start it up or whatever. I just want it to work. I wanted it to be able to display multiple posters, like cycle through posters or whatever. I want the ability to be able to easily change posters. If I get some new posters or whatever, I just want to be able to drop and drag them in somewhere. I don't want to have to go update, you know, batch file or some bash script or whatever, right? And then finally, I mean, my final thing was it has to be cheaper than buying one of those other poster frames. Like, if I'm, I mean, that's the whole goal here, right?
Right.
So basically the parts that I put together, the first is just a Raspberry Pi with a custom script. I'm running it now off of a 3B just because of the wireless. But when I originally started this, I was running it off a 2, so it doesn't need. In fact, I had somebody contact me and say that they set it up on one of the zeros and that it runs fine. So you don't need a lot of processing power to do this. You got to have a TV, obviously, and a vertical wall mount if you're going to put that on the wall. I learned that vertical big screen TV wall mounts are different than horizontal ones.
Now, is this like a Visa type mount, or is it a different? Okay.
Yep, and they're on Amazon, and I'll show you one here in just a second.
Okay.
Then you need your poster files, whatever you're going to display, you know, the pictures of your posters. And then finally, I had to get that cool glow factor. That was, I mean, the one of the blue glowing posters really just stuck with me. I wanted to be able to do that. So this is the TV that I originally picked for this project. Now, if you've listened to some of my podcasts or listened to me go on about this incessantly, this is also the TV that was stolen from me by our moving company. So I don't have this TV anymore. I had to change to a different one. But this was the one that I picked out. This is from Walmart. A 50-inch TV. The new one, this is the one they have on there right now, is 4K, which is way overkill for this project. But it's $199. You don't need a smart TV. You don't need anything. All you need is HDMI input, right, to get from the Pi. If you turn this TV sideways, the screen dimensions are 26 inches by 44 inches. And a one-sheet movie poster, which is the standard size, is 27 inches by 40. So a 50-inch TV is almost exactly the same size as a traditional movie poster. This is the mount that I bought. You can see that. I don't know why I was thinking that you could take a normal wall mount, TV wall mount, and just rotate it 90 degrees.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, the problem is that the mount, the back plate here, then it won't span across multiple studs.
You don't want to anchor that thing just in the drywall. That's for sure.
Yeah, so they have the actual ones that are made for vertical mounts. I will tell you one other thing is that certain TVs say that they're not designed to be hung vertically, which I found mind-blowing. I thought, why on earth would that matter? But if you look at the back of a lot of flat screen TVs, the part that comes out is basically there's passive cooling. There's little slots cut in, and the heat rises. So when you turn it sideways, that heat gets trapped in there. I will tell you that about 5 minutes in a Dremel will take care of that problem. If you don't mind doing that to a $200 TV.
It sounds like a hack dowdy project.
Yes, sketchy.
I was just going to say, you related to Aaron?
Yeah.
Sounds wacky.
Take off, y'all.
Well, and if it gets bad enough, I'm gonna now I have a contact for some good 3D printing. I'll patch it back up. And this is my cool factor. This is my cool lights. Of course, there's a million different options. I think this is the one I bought off Amazon, but it's a strip of LED lighting. This is $13, and 16 foot was enough to go all the way around the backside of the TV. So that was the stuff that I did up front. Now the posters, there are a million different places to get posters. Here on the upper left, you can literally go to Google. I type in movie poster, Cloak and Dagger. Make sure on the tool settings, you pull down and then it says large, so that you'll only get results for large photos. But you can see there's Cloak and Dagger movie posters. You can right click those, save them. Sometimes it's hard to find ones that don't have watermarks, which was kind of a pain of this project. There's also this site over here is Cinema Masterpieces, which sells posters, but they have high resolution scans of all their posters, so you can pull them up and just save them.
What have you noticed is the minimum acceptable resolution?
It's lower than you would think. It really is. I mean, it's I mean, I have some on there that are, the equivalent of 640 by 480, but once they're rotated and there's kind of an illusion that takes place. The TV does soften the image a little bit,
sure.
So it's not too bad. The TV that I'm using has a setting that will autofill the screen. So even if the picture is smaller, it blows it up to fill the screen. And it does that it samples pretty well. So it's not, I mean, you can't do it with thumbnails, but they don't have to be a zillion by, a trillion, whatever pixels.
And you're not going to be standing right up with your nose against the screen anyway. You're seeing at a distance.
Exactly. It's kind of a thing that's off, and it's just, creates that atmosphere, right? On the bottom left down here, you can see on the old Pirate Bay, there's huge collections. There are 5,800 horror movie posters, 2,600 movie posters. Now, I'll tell you the trap that I fell into right off the beginning. When I was setting this up, I thought, man, more posters is better. I'll tell you right off the bat, when you download 5,800 amazing horror posters, those are not amazing posters. I mean, there is probably 5,000 that are garbage. A lot of them are like German horror, and I guess in German horror, like, people don't wear a lot of clothes. I don't know. So
how's that horror?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Sounds good to me.
You got two little kids.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have the horror of your wife on you pretty quick. So, I definitely want the project to be family friendly. No matter who's coming over or whatever, that it would be appropriate stuff. So I spent more time deleting the stuff I didn't want than it would have been if I had just gone and got the ones. And that's what I eventually did was, I made a list of went through my server, and here's all my favorite movies, and I just went and tracked all those posters down. It didn't, I mean, literally it was a day or two of sitting around clicking on stuff.
Can I ask you to go back just a little bit, Flack?
Sure.
How do you handle, because you've got the power cord for the TV, and then you've got the power cord for the LEDs. Does the Pi power come from a USB port on the television, or do you have a third outlet for that as well?
I do have a third. I literally have a power strip that's hanging behind. I'll show you how I routed the wires. That is something that I would like to improve. I'm sure that you could. Like, I have a Roku that you could run off the USB, and I thought maybe you could run it off the USB of the TV.
Right. I'd be leary of that.
Not with the Pi tree.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they are real power hogs. Those Pis. Yeah. You can run the lights off of the TV though.
Yeah, the biggest problem that I have is not that I have the 3 plugins, but that they're all giant wall warts. So I actually hid it with a shelf, and you'll see a picture of it. But I mean, the shelf is 6 inches away from the wall because there's these giant 3 power plugs back there. No, a good question. So after a while, this is what this folder starts looking like. It's just a million movie posters, of all these different movies. And what I wanted, like my personal goal, was to have a collection of movie posters of only movies that I had seen and movies that I could talk about. So, like, to me, it's no fun if someone comes in and there's a movie poster and they go, "Oh man, is that movie good?" And you go, "I don't know, never saw it." Like, it just kind of takes away of like the personal aspect of it, you know. So every movie that I put on there was a movie I'd seen. They're not all good movies. I mean, there's a lot of bad movies in there, but they're all ones that I've seen, ones that I could talk about. So the Raspberry Pi setup, I mean, I'm not going to get super technical into this. At the bottom down here, you can see I've got this URL. And actually, if you Google Poster Pi, one word, that blog entry will come up. And I have step-by-step directions on how to set this up. But the things that I had to do, I rotate the screen. So there's a setting in Raspbian, or probably any Linux flavor, where you could go in and you know, set it to rotate your TV 90 degrees. I will tell you, I wouldn't mess with that until you figure out which way you're going to mount your TV, because of course, when I set this up, it was upside down and I had to go rotate everything the other way. I configured auto login because, like I said, I don't want this to boot up to a command line prompt to log in. I just want to turn it on, have it boot up, start showing pictures. The first time that I built this, I had this brilliant idea that I was going to constantly fetch posters across the network. And it works. There's a little bit of legwork, you know, you Linux guys know you got to go, especially because I have a Windows server. So from a Linux thing, I had to go, you know, build a mount. I had to mount to where those were. I had to give that rights. There was a lot of legwork involved. And now what's happening is, however often you update your posters, it's going to hit the server once a minute or once every 5 minutes and load these pictures. And it's just network traffic that's just unnecessary. So recently I changed it so that all the posters are stored locally. And then when I want to update them, I just connect to it and drop and drag posters over there. So, you know, it's 50-50, however you want to set it up, but you can do it either way. And then again, like I said, I've got this link that has the instructions if you want to set this up. I am actually going off topic for a second, but I've over the years, I've downloaded and accumulated hundreds and probably thousands of video game and computer magazine ads. And so I'm thinking about setting up another one of these here in the office just to show ads, you know, old video game ads. And I don't need a TV for that, you know. I'll probably just use a monitor or something. But so, you know,
that's something that I would be into for sure. Like, I mean, I've got some wall space down here in the studio, and if I could mount a screen on the wall, or even just put a screen, you know, on the table down here, just have it constantly showing ads, I think that would be super cool.
You know, that's the thing is, I mean, there are ways to do it. You could, you know, tag it off of your computer or something like that. But I like the idea that it's just a standalone thing. You power it on, it does what it's supposed to do. I mean, really, it's almost like the old digital picture frames that you would get, you know, but easier to update.
It's funny. I do something very similar for work. We have some displays set up in the hospitals that use Raspberry Pis, and while I didn't write custom scripts for it, I found an app actually that's online. It's called Screenly, and it does a very, very similar sort of thing, right? But and a lot of our foundation people use it for like pushing advertisements out into the hospitals, waiting spaces, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I when I was putting this together, once I was done, I got, and this is not anything against what you said, but I had a lot of people say like, well, why didn't you do it this way? Or why didn't you do this? And I was like, hey, you could. so this is like just one way to do it. You know, this is just like, cause I'm kind of dumb and this is just the way I figured out how to do it, you know?
Yeah. The advantage with the way that you've done it here though, is that like with Screenly, you have to update every single asset one at a time. So, and you'd have to point it to every single image, and it would just be a horrendous nightmare to keep up to date. Whereas like it looks just based on your scripts that it's just interrogating a directory and it's just flipping through each image one at a time, whatever's
exactly what it does.
Yeah.
So this is I mean, this is the guts right here, and as you can see, there's really just one bash script here, and then this is the directory of posters. So this script is 2 pages long, but only because I've got a million, comments in here.
Yay, comments.
As you should.
These comments
Listen
are
to you
for
guys.
me because I'm so dumb. I go back and look, I go, why did I do that?
They're also for others when they want to use your script. Very good. I hate when people don't comment. So
yeah, and I learned something a long time ago. I'm a long time scripter. I do a lot of PowerShell at work, but it's always important to me when you do comments, don't say what you've done, say why you did it or what it's doing. If you just explain the line, it's not helpful. But if you say, I'm doing this so it will do, X or whatever, it's a lot easier to read someone else's code.
Yeah, I can. It's exactly. I can tell it's an if statement. What is it doing?
Right,
Can you
exactly.
explain that to some of my coworkers, please?
So the one part of the puzzle that you don't see here is that I set up a cron job for the poster pie to reboot every night at 3 a.m. So no matter what it's doing, it reboots and starts over. There's some more eloquent ways to handle the limitations of what I did, but that was the easiest way for right now. So if I turn it off, it doesn't matter because every time it reboots, it rebuilds the list. But if for some reason I left it on day after day at 3 in the morning, it would just reboot itself and rebuild the list. So, this is while true. This is just a loop that says run forever, right? I have these 2 files that it uses, text and temp, and it deletes those. Now, these are different iterations of the same thing that I've tried. This was when I was doing it through a mounted point. You can see it's going to the mount poster pie. This was getting a list of all the posters and dumping it to the text file. But the problem with this was because I was doing it with subdirectories, I was also getting the names of all the subdirectories, which would screw it up later. So I finally figured out if you do a find, and again, I had to stumble through Linux. I'm have been born and bred, unfortunately, a Microsoft guy. That's been my bread and butter for 25 years now. So
we're sorry. Go ahead.
You know what? It's a pain to support. It's also paid for a lot of toys.
Rob, a tip for that: find has the option minus type space F for only find files, no directories.
Oh yeah, okay, all right. Well, yeah, like I said, this is an ongoing, growing.
Just a tip, because then if you happen to have something that doesn't have a dot in there, you can still use it.
Right. So yeah, what I did was I looked through the names and I basically put star.star so that because the directories didn't have an extension or whatever, it kind of ruled those out.
Yeah.
So when I was doing it the hard way, I was getting all those, and then I was using sed to. Basically this regex to go in and delete.
I know those tricks, yeah.
Yeah. So this for this purpose works, but yeah, that's a good tip. Now there's probably a better way to do what I've done here, but I take a list of all the posters that I have and I put it in posterpie.txt. Then I use the shuffle command and I search the first 5,000 lines. I don't have 5,000 posters, but I go through and read in posterpie.txt, and it shuffles those, it randomizes the order and puts them into posterpie.temp. The randomization that I'm using in the image viewer doesn't work well, but it works really well by reading a file one line at a time. So instead of using the random in the app, I randomized the list of posters. So this is that line again. So then I'm using FBI, which is a free and a pretty old and very simple command line image viewer, a frame buffer image viewer, I think. This switch is actually redundant, but A is auto size, so that fills the entire size of the screen. I have this set on 60 seconds, so it displays every poster for 60 seconds. Now, what I found is the longer you display the posters, the more it creates the illusion that they're real posters, because people will come in and they'll see a poster. If it's changing every 5 seconds, they go, oh, that's a slideshow, But if the same poster's there for 5 minutes and they just kind of notice, and then later they look and they go, wasn't that a different poster earlier? And it kind of fools them, I also turn the brightness and contrast down on the TV a little bit, so it's not just the brightest thing in the room, and it really does kind of create that illusion that it's a illuminated poster. No verbose, just turns off it. This image viewer shows the file name at the bottom, so I turn off that. And then it loads the first one in the list, and then it does it again and again and again, and it will do it forever until it hits the end of the list, at which point it would start over, or because I have that cron job 3 in the morning, it reboots. And then of course I'll go back here, but then when it reboots, it deletes those files, it reloads the list and reshuffles them into a different random order. So gives me here with the WinSCP. So total cost here, your mileage may vary on the TV. I had $199 for that one. That mount was $27.99. A Raspberry Pi, I went high. I mean, this is if you buy a complete package off Amazon with a SD card and a power supply and a case, they're about $70. Those lights were $15, and then of course the posters were free. So that put me at just over $300, which was cheaper than a lot of those frames I was looking at, plus, not including the price of posters. The minute that I started talking about this project, I had 3 of my friends say, I have an old flat screen in my garage that's collecting dust. If you want it, you can have it. So, you may not have to go buy a brand new TV for this project. You may feel like me. I got a drawer of about 4 Raspberry Pis sitting over here. So, you could probably do this for a lot less, but if you were starting, from scratch, this is what it would cost me.
Have you run any, have you looked at, because these obviously are running 24/7. Have you noticed any uptick in your electric bill? Have you made any attempt to estimate how much this is going to impact things from that point of view?
You know what? I looked up something. I think I actually have a kilowatt. I don't know if you've ever seen those. It's a device. They were popular for a couple of years where you can plug it into the wall and then plug an item into it. It'll show you how much electricity it's using, and then you can do the math and multiply and see what it costs you. But I think on this TV, I did the math, and it's costing me about $6 a month.
Okay,
not bad.
And by the way, the amount of candy that my kids eat is about $45 a month. So,
yeah, I was looking at your stacks there. That's what I was thinking, man.
I'm jealous of that.
Hey,
by the way, right now those shelves are totally empty. I set it up, and then the kids have their friends over, and then it goes. So I quit buying the good stuff. Now I just go to a Dollar General, and whatever they have, that's what goes in the thing. But
you did a similar project with ASCII art, didn't you? Or ANSI, excuse me, ANSI art, BBS art back in the day, right? Did you build off that to do this?
No, that was a Pi Ants. In fact, you could only see my screen right now, right?
We can see you.
Can you see me though?
Yeah, we can see you, man.
We can, and they can see you in a tiny little window.
Yeah.
On the
Okay.
screen.
Well, when I close this out, you'll be able to see it better. But back here, actually, that Pi Ants is running back there, which is a project that a guy put together. It's a Python viewer that shows ANSI, BBS ANSI artwork, and so no, I didn't use any of the code or anything like that. But yeah, they are kind of a similar idea.
I love, you talked about that years ago on your show. And I thought that was the most clever thing I could think to do with the Pi. I was like, that's a great idea. I always thought that was a really good idea.
The unfortunate thing about Pi Ants is people started creating ANSI, a lot of the newer ANSI artwork that's exactly 80 columns, and the line breaks don't always work. And so the guy that wrote it did some troubleshooting for a while, and we looked at things, and then he just kind of abandoned it. So it works when it works. It's kind of one of those things. But yeah, the neat thing about Pi Ants is that it does have settings where you can simulate different modem speeds. so it doesn't just throw the ANSI up there.
I love that.
I think I've got it set at 14.4, so it draws every line. And that's another project where I immediately went and downloaded these huge collections of ANSI files, and then found out a lot of nudity.
Oh yeah, ANSI nudity.
A lot of teenage
it's the
boys
best.
were drawing some pretty naughty things.
Pretty blocky, but naughty.
Right. So yeah, and then the timing, it always, right when the daughter comes in with her friends to ask, hey, can we go out to the movie room? That's of course what's on ANSI there.
The ANSI though, what made me happy that you mentioned it is that's really is a lost art form in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're an old BBSer like we are, I mean, that was something that would really impress you when you logged onto a BBS. If they had a really awesome opening screen or something, you'd be like, holy smokes, these guys are serious. They're going to work, and what they could do with the ANSI set was amazing. I'll always love that.
Oh yeah. It's one of those things where, an artist is an artist, right? No matter what the medium is. Like, you can pull out some Play-Doh and somebody be like, oh, I made this, 3D and atomically correct. I'm like, I made a dummy head with one eyeball, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, when you would sit down and you would be like, oh, ANSI, look, I drew a snake, and then this guy's like, oh, I drew, a picture of Picasso. And you're like, all right, I'll give up.
Or I animated the entire Star Wars movie or something like
right,
that.
exactly. Yeah. So there's, just amazing stuff out there. And of course, like a lot of great things, I mean, it's all free, right? People want to show off their skills.
I was just going to mention that too, Curtis, about the nice thing if you logged into a BBS back in the day and the ANSI was animated. Like that was cool.
That's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the Pi Ants also shows animated ANSIs. And so sometimes, like, I'll look back and it looks like it's stuck, and then it'll be like a guy, but he's talking, he's like, hello, and it's redrawing everything in 14.4. So. Anyway, so I'll wrap this up, Aaron. This is what it looks like at night if you walk in or the lights are off. And I got my cool glow factor. I mean, that's my $15 LED light strip that comes with two, sticky tape on the back side of it, and literally just ran it around behind the TV. It comes with a remote. I haven't figured out a way yet. I have randomized. You can do it where it changes color, and every now and then, like, the colors on the LED will kind of line up with whatever the color is on the poster that's showing, and it's kind of a cool effect. But it really is just kind of luck of the draw. I haven't figured out a way to combine the two things yet. This picture on the left, a lot of those auction sites and places where you'll download high-res pictures of folders or posters, you can see, like, here's the fold lines in the poster, and I love it actually when I get those, because again, it adds to that illusion, right? It looks like a real poster.
Authenticity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And then this is a Aaron, we need to turn. This is a flak hack. We're gonna coin that today.
I like it, man.
This TV had this giant silver thing right here. Of course, now it's on the side. Normally, it would be on the bottom. That said Phillips, that ran all the way right here, and you really can't see it in this picture, but there is a strip of black electrical tape.
Yes. That's what I would have done.
It's like that reminds me of Jan Beta, and he partially covers up the Phillips on his monitor, so it says lips.
So yeah, that was
be done in the Netherlands, of course. Phillips being Dutch.
It's just a thing where you're trying to, or at least I was trying to, make it look more like a poster and less like a TV showing pictures of posters. Cool. And when you see, a logo on the side, it immediately spoils the illusion. So this is not long, and so let me click on this. But if you've ever seen a Raspberry Pi, you're probably familiar with the boot up sequence, but this is just right after plugging it into the wall. So again, like I said, my thing was I didn't want to have to log into it. I don't want to have a keyboard and a mouse hanging off this poster thing, I just want it to boot up and I want it to work. And so that's what it does right there.
A great flick too. I love that movie. That's one of my favorites. I love DC Cab, man. That's one of my. But hey, let me ask you, Flack, where did you get your little let's all go to the lobby cutouts at. Did you make those yourself?
No, you know what? Those are metal, and they came from Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is actually based here in Oklahoma, and they make a lot of retro signs. I mean, the vintage-looking type signs. So, yeah, there's your little intermission. Let's all go to the lobby, and there's your, the popcorn guy and stuff like that. And so, when people know you have a movie room, you tend to get a lot of these for birthdays and Christmas.
So Flack, is the technology in the movie room finished with this project? Are you planning any future updates in this vein?
Well, I'll tell you. Well, the one thing that I just added was I just bought some smart light bulbs for the movie room so that I can run them off of my phone. This is not really because I like any kind of wow factor or anything. It's because I'm lazy. And it's because I trip over stuff when I turn off the lights, and then I try to get over to the movie chairs. So now I can go around and sit in the movie chairs and then turn off the lights from my phone. So that's kind of handy.
If you were truly lazy, you'd hook it up to your Google or Alexa, so you don't got to touch nothing. You just tell them to turn on and off.
Yeah, see, so that could be.
I've got mine like that.
Upgrade coming.
Yeah,
that's the way ours are.
I did have. I would say about upgrades, and I think the next slide's the last one. But if you can see here, Bo, this is kind of what we were talking about. Like I tried to cinch everything together, but you can see there's these wires coming out of the bottom that go behind this, and really the candy shelf is here to hide that mess of wires that's plugged in. So maybe I'll route those through the wall, or maybe I'll hide them or something a little bit.
Yeah, hiding
better.
them with the candy shelf, that's a good move. I was wondering how you were dealing with the massive amount of cabling coming out of the back there.
Yeah, so it's
all you got to do is cut a hole in the drywall, man. That's the way the pros do it.
Yeah, that's what I did. My buddy cut a PVC tube in half and put it on the wall, so it kind of made like a nice round encased thing. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, I just drill holes in walls.
There you go.
I for my rear speakers in this room, the minute that the movie room was done, I went out there with a jigsaw and had to cut 8.5 by 11 holes for these walls. And let me tell you, nothing makes your wife happier than the minute you are done with a massive building project and then you show up with a jigsaw to go start cutting on drywall. They
That's
love
right.
that. Big fans.
Make some alterations.
Yeah.
I
find
love
a
it.
bottle of wine helps that a little bit.
Well, unfortunately, the bottle of wine went to the guy with the jigsaw. So
Yeah.
that was
I need a box of wine, Flack.
usually my problem. So on my little to-do list, I may add a frame. I've seen some different versions of this where people put a frame and it kind of adds to that illusion that it's not, a TV. So I may do that. By the way, all these are to-do lists, like maybe a rainy day. I'm pretty happy with it, how it is right now. Again, we talked about hiding the wires. And then I had this other kooky idea. I'm running all my movies off of a little Kodi box, but there are other ways to do this. But Kodi has a plugin where you can trigger a script. And so I had this idea that when I started a movie, that I could trigger a script and run it out and then replace, basically only show that poster and then have it say now playing. So if I start War Games, it would send something out to the Pi, to put the War Games poster up and say now playing. The biggest problem, well, there's two problems with this. One is it sounds like it's going to be a lot of work. And number two, I'll never see it because I'm in the other room watching War Games. So, so really, when it comes to doing work, like for other people to enjoy it, I don't really do that. So
it's kind of like an on-air sign they use, on the radio type thing, where you don't go in the booth. We're watching the movie
exactly,
right now.
Exactly. So that was an idea, but I don't know that I'll ever get around to it. So anyway, that's poster pie.
Very good, man. I like it, man. It looks good. I get the idea. I have thought of something similar with Windows when they used to use TVs as windows. That shtick where they used to, you could look out and you could see like the ocean or whatever. But that when they first came around, I thought, it'd be great to look out because I look outside now. I see my backyard and the grass needs mowed. You know what I mean?
I mean how we've come full circle, right? With Zoom and the backgrounds. For 10 years, I worked in a basement of a building. We didn't have a window. And so, you know, we were like, man, if we could put a big TV and then put a camera outside, we would be able to see. But then I was like, well, why would I want to see a stupid parking lot in Oklahoma? Like, if I could put anything on a screen, why wouldn't I put the Bahamas or something? You know, why do I want to?
We could all be like David.
I always want to see something more depressing than where I'm at, right? If I'm somewhere, right, I don't want to look at something and be, man, I want to be there. I want to like look at some place like, wow, glad I'm not there.
Fair enough.
Right, I'm just going to have videos of tornadoes and fire, you know.
Good stuff. I like that, Flack. Hey, I think that's a very clever way to use the Pi, the TVs. Very good. It looked great too. It was very fancy.
I think, you know, as far as the Pi goes, and I'm just now like dipping my toes in the Arduinos. I just got an Arduino and just started messing around with it. But I like the idea. And of course, the Pi is an amazing thing. Like when, you know, we were all younger, who would have thought like you would just, you know, almost have a disposable computer.
Yeah,
right?
man.
But they're so cheap that you can do it as a one-off thing, right? Like, I mean, I have that bare metal 64. Like, it just does one thing, but who cares? You know, if I have a different project, I'll just pick up another Pi, you know, so.
Yeah.
I have about 12 or 13 of them now, so.
There you go.
May I quickly interrupt with something that
man.
Pertinent for something that was discussed earlier. I looked it up. Roger Taylor's Real Coco FPGA core is also available for the Mist.
There you go. You're still in, man. It's still it's still there.
So you gotta link that up on the Discord, Frodo.
Yeah, I will do that, but I thought that mention it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Frodo's Johnny on the spot, man.
It's a Patreon, so you have to pay a few dollars a month, but that's
throw the guy some cash.
So it's to pay for his continuing development because he keeps improving it too.
There you go.
Exactly. He's also working now on a Dragon version of it, for instance.
Oh, okay.
Updating at the moment, yeah.
Very good.
And he does third-party software on top of that he adds.
Yeah, he's working with that too. But
Very good.
If I give $1 back to the community for every game I downloaded in the 1980s,
you'd be broke.
I could support a lot of projects these days, so I don't mind doing that at all.
I'd be in jail for debt. That's what I'd be.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't be able to afford my food.
Yeah. Lovely, lovely. All right, you know, we're near the end here, but we got John Boat of Cars Schaller. You were on the sheep boat, much to my surprise. What's something you want to talk about? Why don't you jump in here and boat us up, my friend?
All right. Well, you know, I put my name on there because there were no other names on there.
Nah.
So I didn't want you to be lonely. I knew that this thing was going to be a hit. I knew it would be exactly as it is now from the get-go. Because I know that you're a master of organization and you've been working your hind end off.
Oh yeah.
I felt so bad when you called me in a panic when I was at the Mountain Dulcimer Jam, and I couldn't assuage your fears. But trust me, man, this thing looks awesome from the outside. Like, you can't see it because you're on the inside. I'm looking from the outside. It looks great. You did an awesome job.
Thank you,
You're
bud.
the man.
Thank you,
so,
man.
yeah,
I appreciate
talk.
that.
Okay, here's my talk. So look at this thing back here. This is the mug holder, aka the Amiga 1000.
The mug holder? You got to do better than that.
So what it does currently is it holds 3 coffee mugs and a Commodore 1702 monitor. Okay. So my project for the fall is to get this thing going again in some meaningful way. And so what I want to do is I want to open up the chat for discussion. Now, I'll tell you that the problem is, number one problem is that it's an NTSC machine. And as you all know, the Amiga was a complete non-factor in the United States. And there's next to no NTSC stuff available online for download.
Don't tell Tinmark that.
Yeah. I got his truth right here. So the next thing is the drive is broken. The 1000, you need to have a drive because you need to load the kickstart. So Aaron, you graciously loaned me a spare Amiga floppy, but it didn't line up like the entry and exit hole in the shell didn't line up with the drive that you gave me. The drive that you gave me worked, but I couldn't get it to fit in the case.
Sounds like a Dremel project, man.
Yeah. So as we all know, the 1000 is not a cheap piece of kit, and I don't want to ruin it. I am willing to go the extra mile with this thing from a cost perspective to get it up and running again. I want to know your thoughts, everybody that's on the call right now and everybody that's in the chat. What is the best way to go? I know that there is the 520 board. But the problem with that is that it still requires a disk drive, because you still got to load the Kickstart. There's no way around it. So, does anybody have any ideas for my Amiga 1000 to get it rolling again?
Hey, Bode, I know right off the bat, I think David Z has something for the front of the monitor there.
Yeah, David Z is right. He's already called you up before you showed up, dude.
What is that thing? That's the front plate for an 1000, isn't it?
No, it's your 1702 cover.
Oh man,
yeah.
Hit me up. Send it over. I'd love to have it. It's funny. I bought 2 1702 monitors from a guy in his basement. He was switching all of his CRTs to LCDs in the early 2000s, and he sold me these for a song. The other one I sold before I went to Korea, but I kept one around, and man, it's a freaking great monitor. I love it. All right, ideas, hit me.
Let me talk about floppies. Let's take that in the floppy section. I have probably 5 or 6 floppies that I can't get to work. And I just sent a message out pretty recently on the Facebook looking for somebody who can fix floppies, right? Like if my Amiga's dead, there's Paul. You guys know Paul. There's the new guy, Thomas. There's some guy in New Orleans. There's a couple of resources here in the U.S. we can get the Amigas fixed. But nobody seems to work on floppies.
Right.
For 64 floppies, there's Ray. You guys know Ray up in Washington. Ray Carlson. He's a guy I see my floppies too. But he won't touch Amiga stuff. I haven't found anybody.
I don't blame him.
And I'm in the same boat. So I've got 2 1000s, and one of them the floppy works fine, and the other one the floppy doesn't. And I've got 4 or 5 other floppies. None of them will fit in the 1000, because it's got custom legs and custom fits, and I haven't found anybody that will fix a floppy.
They're difficult to work on too, because unlike the later floppies that came in like the 500, these you can't really get into. They're constructed in a really strange way, and you can't get in there to even clean the head. I mean, I feel like I might have, I stuck a Q-tip down there and hoped for the best, but you don't have direct access, if you will. So it's a real problem.
John, can't you use like an ADF, like
GoTech, that's what I'm thinking.
GoTech,
yeah.
Well, the problem is that I think that you can't hook up a GoTech as the DF1 or DF0, DH0, whatever, right? You can.
That's why I'm using one of my 2000 as my boot drive. Yeah, you can. It does lose some of the classic factor, and I mean I do use one, but I've got these floppies.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. What if I put the GoTech internally into the Amigas and I only put the Kickstart disc on it? Could I just pretend like it wasn't there and then hook up like an external floppy drive to actually run floppies? I mean, that seems like massive overkill, because you can just use the GoTech but I mean, how does the GoTech work with the Amiga? Because you've got to load. I just don't know how it works with the Kickstart disc.
It works great. I've got that set up.
Yeah, they do.
Aaron, you told me that it didn't work great, and it was a huge pain to set up.
Well, I didn't say it was easy to set up, but once you got it done, brother, you're in. That's what I'm saying.
And remember, if you're gonna use the 1000 in any factor at all, you're gonna have to put some kind of an accelerator on, right? So all you have to do is get to that accelerator. No, you want to use it. You don't want to use 1000. Just put that 512 on the front there, Aaron.
Now, why do you say that? Why do you think you need to use an accelerator?
Yeah, I don't use one, man. I'm all natural, brother.
Are you talking, David, about an accelerator or just the memory expansion?
Something more than a meg.
You need a memory expansion.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Well, why do you need more than a meg? I mean,
no, he's true. That's you do need more.
90% of the games that we play on Amigos don't need more than a meg.
Not 90.
More than half a meg, you mean?
Yeah. I've got the 2 meg sidecar expansion.
You're good.
So,
that's all you need right there. I've got a GoTech in mine boat. Now, don't get me wrong. I sketchy tech the hell out of this thing. There was some sticky tape in there.
My 1000, my pristine 1000 that was a gift from my uncle, into some sort of Frankenbeast.
Hold on a second now. You're casting aspersions on my good name here. It's beautiful. It looks good, man. But it can be done. And the best part of having a GoTech in there, man, is you put your Kickstart in right on the GoTech. You have it come up right away. Wham, bam, Bob's your uncle. That sucker's loaded. Then you're ready to go. and you don't have
So
to
you're
worry
saying
about
that
it.
I could take the GoTech out of the 600 that I've got right
No,
now?
no, don't do that. Because I put that in there. Did you get?
Well, I
you
mean,
buy
it's a
another
freaking,
one.
It's a freaking cable. I mean, it's not like you fashioned it out
Listen,
of wood.
You buy another one, dude. You go up to one of our buddies are selling these things. You go buy his.
Listen, I'm going to take the GoTech out of the 600. Why are you saying that? It's literally a cable.
Because that works. The 600 works. Why are you monkeying with it?
The 600 does not work.
Listen, you are like death incarnate to Amigas and CZX Spectrums. I don't want you in there monkeying around. That's all good to go. I will buy you another GoTech from our boy.
Wait a minute. Because if you're going to mount the GoTech inside the Amiga 1000 in such a way that it doesn't ruin the outside, right?
Right.
Yeah. Then you can't have. Then firstly, you have to have a GoTech that you have to use firmware that mean you can have an all software menu, because you won't.
Right.
Either that, or you need to have it hanging out the back or something.
I don't want it hanging out. I mean, I guess it could hang out the back.
Mine's in there. Mine's in there, brother. It's in there.
There's plenty of 3D mounts, right? That we could print you a 3D mount for the GoTech.
That's
we
right.
got some covered that.
That's right.
Yeah, so you need to remove the front part and everything, and mount just the PCB in there somewhere.
One of the things that was on my to-do list, if I ever got a 3D printer, was actually to model a whole new Amiga 1000 front face for a GoTech, so that, because the front face is easy to take off.
Oh yeah,
so
it
you
pops right
take
off.
the case apart, right? And so if you could build it in two parts and have the seam in the middle, essentially where the memory expansion goes into, and then you could have it modeled to fit a GoTech just perfectly, so you wouldn't have to kind of hack it in there or mod it in there the way that kind of Aaron's got his going.
Yeah,
He's got a demo. He's got a demo.
Oh my gosh, that looks like a freaking abomination.
No, it doesn't. What?
So,
I'll kill you, Boat.
Now,
That's
Jason,
good stuff
I don't
right there.
mean
We
to.
can make it look better.
When I was talking about the 600, Jason, I know how much work you did on the 600. The issue is that it won't accept a memory expansion without making the joystick constantly pull to the left. And I've messed with that. You know, if you guys don't know Jason, he spent thousands of man hours on this 600. And he built a custom PSU. I mean, this thing was built from the ground up out of the parts of nothing. And I've tweaked, I've taken the screwdriver and I've adjusted the voltage. I've gotten the multimeter out, and I still can't get it to take a memory expansion without making the joystick pull to the left. I don't know why. So when I say that the 600 doesn't work, it has nothing to do with Jason's workmanship. It's got something to do with just the wackiness of the
That 600 was jacked up from Jump Street, Boat, as I recall.
It did not come in the greatest condition, that's for sure.
But you can do it with the 1000. Don't worry.
Does the expansion work?
Yeah, I've tried. You know, you bought me a memory expansion. Remember at Amiga Ireland, Edvin? I tried that one, and I also tried one from Aaron, because Aaron also gave me one. And both of them, they both register. You can both see the memory, but whenever I start up a game, the joystick pulls to the left, and I can't get it to stop. So
shift the board a bit to the right, then. No.
Yeah. Maybe if I just lean to the right, I'll just compensate.
Good one, eh?
Put it on vertical.
So I just wanted to make sure in this topic that, you know, the drive, I would love to have a pure is the pure driven snow Amiga 1000 with a working floppy drive and all that stuff. I'd love to use a null modem cable to write ADFs onto real floppy disks and put them, you know, with Amiga Explorer and all that stuff.
Works. You'd love to do that?
Well, I mean, come
on, Boat. Who are you fooling here? You would never do that.
In my mind, I'd like to do it. So
you're gonna write ADFs through a serial cable? Come on, Boat.
So let me ask you a question. If I decide to go all out,
I've done that. Yeah.
Well, I know you guys have.
Does anybody have any experience with the A520 Amiga 1000 board?
No 1000 ever appeared in Norway, I think.
Yeah, it never rolled up on your shores. I'm wondering if, because I know that it has WHD load. Yeah, it's got WHD load capability, but I just don't know if the 1000 has the jack. I mean, maybe the jack is built into the board to make it happen.
You know, I've got a bunch of
jack for what? The jack for what?
The jack to actually run, you know, the programs, because you need to have at least I think what's the minimum you need? What's the minimum RAM that you need to run WHD load? I mean,
I'd say it's quite a bit.
Megabyte?
Yeah.
Yeah, a megabyte. Definitely.
Oh, that's all you need.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, that's
but it has to be fast RAM though, right?
And you also need a hard
RAM?
drive. You also need a hard drive.
Yeah.
You need a megabyte chip RAM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say,
so that rules out pretty much.
It's
no, you
cheaper to
don't.
buy a 500.
I know.
I've got a bunch of
it's cheaper to
1,000
just emulate the
peripherals.
darn thing.
Yeah, but you really need a faster processor like O20 to run WHD load well.
Well, that's what I was wondering is like, what does this thing is, quote unquote compatible with the 1000, but is it really at the end of the day? And I don't know that I've seen any evidence. And this thing isn't cheap. It's a €200. And that doesn't, I don't want to 3D print a case and all that stuff because I don't want anything hanging out the side. I just wonder if just using the 1000, the best way to go is just getting the GoTech and letting that be that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thanks, Martin.
I think Doug did a video on a 520 and 1000.
He did, but he didn't actually load up. I don't think he actually loaded up anything. He just
he's
ran
not a
through
gamer.
the process.
He's not going to put on WHD. He's not
Yeah. So, okay, thank you guys. Problem solved. Aaron's walking around his room like a madman.
Also, what I just want to mention in the Twitch chat there, you got a suggestion from Pixels of Dawn Gaming saying just play games where you only have to go right. Problem solved.
That's true.
Or
Sword of
mouse
Sodan,
games.
I'm in.
Listen, I've got a bunch of Amiga 1000 peripherals here, Boat. I got hard drive, IDE, and SCSI peripherals. I got memory expansions. I got Amiga 1000 crap coming up to yin yang. So I can set you up, my friend, if you actually want to take that next step.
All right. Well, I'm doing it. My project for the fall is getting the 1000 up and running. It shall be an upgrade from just being its mug holder, and you will see it running games in the background.
Listen to him. I love it.
Well, so that 1702 doesn't have digital video, right? That's only composite. Are you going to?
The Amiga 1000 has composite out.
Well, yeah,
It does.
It's still not as sharp as RG.
Hey,
listen.
We're not about being sharp.
Oh boy.
We're not about being sharp on this channel.
I will never use an RGB monitor. That's a freaking Soviet mind trick. Because it looks fine. It looks fine. I've used it my whole life, and I'm not moving up.
He don't care.
You'd better not move up because, as was said earlier, then you never go back.
Exactly.
You're screwed in all your systems.
It's like when Macs came out with Retina displays, and everybody was like, "Oh man, I'll never be able to go back to using a cheap computer again." And I was like, "I don't want that. I like my cheap computer."
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, listen, I'm all about being cheap, my friend. You know that. I love it, Bo. We'll get you set up. We got everybody behind you, man. So we're near the end here. We got about 20 minutes. I want to go up around the horn for the folks that didn't have a project to talk about, to see if anybody has any final thoughts or anything they want to discuss here at the in the waning minutes of the meeting. And if you don't, just say adios, muchachos, and we'll move on. So let's go. Let's start up with our resident tech, Jason Warrens. What have you been up to, Jason? You got anything you want to talk about before we head out?
Oh, jeez.
Y'all, come on! I'm putting you on the spot. Do it, man. You guys, listen. This guy's a genius. He's a master of technology. What are you working on right now?
I got a couple skunkwork projects that I'm trying to working on for the everythingamiga.com site. So I'll kind of keep the covers on those for a little while till I make a little progress.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've got a couple of 500s to recap that I want to do. I also came into possession of a 128, so that's on my list to crack open the cover on and take a look at as well. And I also want to the power supply that I built for John. I want to document that and put that up as an article up on the site as well, because I want to build one for myself too. So
very good,
it seemed to work out pretty good.
Very good, and we appreciate your efforts, my friend. You've done a lot for us, and we really appreciate that. Because as you can tell, obviously, me and Bud are idiots. We don't know what the hell we're doing. Let's face
if you guys don't know this already, if you've ever visited everythingamiga.com, that is 100% Jason Warrens. He built that site from the ground up, and he maintains it. He does all the hard work behind the scenes.
Yeah, he is the man.
I just keep it running so everyone else can put all the content up.
Listen,
I do nothing.
I barely know the address.
Jason, I have a quick question. Would you be able to do you think you would be able to build a boat to RGB converter?
Good luck.
Oh, yeah, I wish.
Don't put them on a spot, Curtis.
I was gonna say, John, though, if you're pulling that drive out of that 1000 and you're gonna try that GoTech out, I have a 1000 here, and you know, I should maybe just borrow that drive off you and see if I can breathe some life into it.
There you go.
I will send it to you, Jason.
There
I will
you
send
go.
it to you.
The die is cast. Let's go to reflection. What's going on over there, man? You got anything you're working on these days?
Yeah, always a lot of projects going on. It mainly, I'm trying to help out some people, you know, try to fix some battery damaged 4000s.
Oh, man. How bad are they?
And,
How bad? How bad are they?
one of them's really bad.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's doable, but we'll try.
Yeah.
And another one, I'm quite hopeful it's going to be all right. And of course, I have my eternal project, the Amiga 1200, which is my own, which I bought new back in 1993. And now it's the icing on the cake was going to be I just got an InDivision MK3, the flicker fixer.
Yes.
So that would allow me to use like VGA monitors on it. And of course that didn't work. So I'm gonna figure out what's going on there.
That's always the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's running in the background.
Yeah.
You see my 1200s there. I've been running demos on it all night. Let's start another one.
But it eventually worked, right? I got one coming in the mail.
I mean, it works fine. It's just the InDivision card that I received from Germany 3 days ago. It was just launched. So they shipped their pre-orders out, and then I didn't pre-order, so I got mine in the next batch, and it doesn't work. So, but Jens Schoenfeld is very helpful. So I'm hoping we can get it working, and if not, he'll probably replace it.
Do you think it's a physical, like there's some sort of screw up on it?
No, there was a screw up on an earlier batch where he had a problem with the packaging company. So often one capacitor was knocked off the board.
Oh yeah.
In transit, but I don't think that's an issue on mine.
I think that's what happened with your Amiga, Aaron. The package got knocked off the back of the truck, and that's what caused the resistors to flip themselves.
Yeah, but what about the chip that wasn't seated? Did the packaging do that too?
The packaging can do lots of weird things.
Yeah, no kidding, eh? Well, good luck to you up there, my friend. I think you'll figure it out, man. And listen, everyone wants the Amiga hooked up to the VGA. That's the goal, man. That's the way you do it.
HDMI.
There you go. Let's go to Zorglub. My boy, what's going on down there, man? You got anything cooking?
Greetings from Denmark. So,
yes.
Yeah, I'm working on a smaller scale project here. I realized when I was backing up my tapes for C64 to disk that I wanted to make some alterations to some of the load graphics to put them on the disk as well, just to conserved by Zorglub, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to acquire a drawing system, so I acquired this Koala pad.
Yes.
So this is quite interesting. I also have the cartridge with the system on, and of course it didn't work. So I was wondering that for quite a while, and I found out that it's because I have the Swin SID, and that doesn't have the potentiometer support in the SID chip that you need for this to work.
Oh.
So that's also why the light pen I had didn't work. So now, lo and behold, yesterday I acquired this original SID chip. So it will, when I have recorded the sound of the Swin SID, I will put this in and get a real SID and hopefully get an operational Koala system. So
beautiful, man.
That's a short project. Also just upgraded my A500 to ECS.
Very good.
So I can do 1 meg chip RAM, so that works. So I'm on a streak of working things right now.
You know, the Koala Pad, when those things came out back in the day, a lot of you guys are my age or somewhere in the ballpark. Those were like the big deal. I mean, I thought those things were awesome. Those Koala Pads.
At that time, I was just a kid.
Oh, don't say that, dude, because it makes me feel like I'm 1,000 years old, man.
Aaron was in his mid-30s when
Shut
the
up,
Koala Pad
Boat.
was
I don't need you to chime in here. Hey,
you know, when I was a kid, I remember getting downloading a couple of demos and seeing like super awesome graphics, you know, and I was convinced that people were putting graphics on a Koala Pad and tracing them.
Yeah.
So that's what I tried to, I cut out pictures and I put it on the Koala Pad. Didn't turn out. No demos used by
Unfortunately, talent is still required.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Zorglub, I gotta say, that's quite a shirt you're wearing there, my friend. I love that. Show us that. Can you put the shirt in the camera there? Outstanding, man. I love it. And what is that, your guitar in the background there?
It's a life goal, so I have it there for all the video meetings. I mean, I have to explain to people why I don't play it yet.
You shut me up, didn't you? Beautiful, man. Well, congratulations. I hope you have many fun outings with the old Koala Pad there, and of course having the ECS, not a bad thing, man. So let's move down the line. We've hit Flack, we've hit the Boat. Let's see what Graham's up to. Graham, you got anything cooking down there, down your way?
I'm actually going all in on the Mister myself.
Oh yes, I've noticed that.
I probably mentioned that on the Discord.
Yeah.
For those that are on the Discord. So one of these. Whoops.
That's a darn sexy case you got.
Yeah, it
there,
is. That's
man.
super
fully
fancy.
cased out. Oh, hang on.
That's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
Lots of USBs on it too.
Yeah, it does. Now you've been liquidating your collection, haven't you, Graham? For the most part.
Yeah. But basically, you're going to end up with a GameCube, an Xbox One, and a Mister, and that's it.
That's okay, man. And so the Mister's really doing it for you, right? I mean, you're not feel like you're missing out.
No, absolutely not. The Mister's helped me explore the ZX Spectrum and the Coco in ways I never previously could, because the ZX Spectrum in Australia was virtually unheard of when I was growing up. It was always C64s or TRS-80s, or Apple II as well. I had an Apple II when I was growing up.
Or the Dick Smith Super 80. You can't forget that, man.
Hey, listen, the Dick Smith Super, that's an awesome machine.
Rare as hen's teeth. Yeah, they were rare as hen's teeth, though. So,
I think you meant the System 80.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, the System 80.
Oh, the Wizard. Yeah.
Yes. Oh yes, that too.
Or the System 80. Yeah.
Hey man, first of all, I just want to say that I mean I've seen your name around for years, so it's like a lot of the people in there. It's always good to put name to a face. But the other thing I want to ask is like when I bought my Mist, it came pre-assembled in a project box, and really one of the things that has stopped me from moving to the Mister is there doesn't seem to be, at least in the U.S., I haven't found a place where you just buy like the complete thing. So I see all these things about assembly. Is it hard to put all the different parts together?
I had to order a case separately. I ordered it from a guy in Spain. It was pretty fast delivery actually to Australia. It surprised me. But there are a few official cases that you can get now. That there's a forum, mrfpga.org, I believe is the URL, and there's a lot of talk about all the different cases and hardware add-ons that work with the Mister device.
So what all you have to buy the FPGA part? You have to buy the RAM separately. Do you have to buy other stuff or?
Yeah. That's right, yeah. So firstly, you buy the D10 Nano board. Then you get a RAM expansion if you want to take advantage of any of the cores that use the RAM expansion, like the Neo Geo or the Amiga Spectrum. Yeah, that's right. Cores like the PC Engine don't need the RAM expansion, so what you can do is just buy the board, and then you can play PC Engine while you wait for the rest of the parts to arrive.
Not a bad thing.
which is pretty much what I did, being honest.
Yeah.
And I ordered an expansion board and case from the same guy in Spain. And it gives me VGA output as well if I want that. Analog audio, 7 USB ports. It's got 3 buttons on the top that are dedicated to reset, calling the menu, and then there's the 3rd button is one that I can custom put a command on. I haven't assigned anything to that just yet. I've just, yeah.
Me either.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. It's opened up a lot of doors that I previously didn't have access to. And the Amiga core, which is the Mini Mig, it's called, it runs like an absolute dream on this.
I can attest to. It is quite good.
Yeah, and I've got it set up with the 020 CPU and 8 megs of RAM, and it just flies. It's fantastic.
You really can't have if you come from having real Amigas, this is so much less of a pain in the butt to run stuff on, right? I can attest to. Since you started liquidating your collection, you've been talking me into this thing, and the Unamiga sort of finished the deal. If it wasn't for the expandability of that Amiga with the Next Core and the MSX and the C64, I would probably already have a Mister, but I can still see one on the horizon just for the ease of use. I think it's a real great. It's a great product. I think you did real well with it, man.
Putting it together physically is that simple. It's just you plug the parts together, nothing else, and it just works.
Outstanding.
That's right. It only took about 5 to 10 minutes to assemble the case and the expansion board that was ordered. So it was basically just like putting Lego together, being honest.
Very good.
Biggest time was setting the memory card up. That was the most work.
Yep, agreed.
What's the cost, Graham?
The cost.
That's the point.
Well, the way I looked at it, the reason I was minimizing my collection was because primarily for space, and that I wasn't showing the items that I had locked in cupboards and in boxes the respect that it deserved. So I felt kind of guilty having, Amiga 500s in boxes and Commodore 64s in boxes.
Now you're making me feel bad.
Well, if collecting them is your thing, don't feel bad. But
it's not. I just want to revive them and sell them.
Yeah. So for me, though, it was mostly a space thing because I've only got a small, I call it the man closet. That's basically because most of it's taken up with a drum kit. But anyway,
drum kit, by the way.
Sorry.
Nice drum kit.
Oh, yeah. It's my other vice, other than all this gaming and computing stuff, is the drums.
Graham, you got to talk a little bit about your drums, because the tech on your drums is amazing.
Okay, let me take the camera off and.
There you go. Do it, man.
Hey.
Always nearby are the drums. There they are.
So these are Tama Star Classic drums. So they're almost top of the line professional level drums. The only reason they're not top of the line is because the finish isn't a finish that I paid extra money for. It's just a run-of-the-mill stock finish. And I have a Yamaha snare drum. Yamaha makes some of the best snare drums in the world, so that's why I went with the Yamaha.
And these are like
DW. What's that? Sorry.
It's soundproofed somehow.
So yes. So on this wall, yeah. Here we go. Here's the tour. So I've got my whole doors here have got soundproofing that I put on. It's basically ply sheet, which is screwed into the door, and then I've glued all these.
Take note, Bode. That's what we need.
So yeah, that's that.
Listen, man, when I'm singing, I want all the neighbors to hear.
You know, what I'm thinking is
Good choice.
You know, we got Christian. Now this is, you know, time to learn the bass. We got a drummer. I mean, this is a whole backing band for Boat singing.
Have you not?
It would be awesome if we
together.
had a Patreon band at some point that would play. Wouldn't that be awesome, Martin? If one day we could do that.
Boat's got a band, Rob.
Start.
Yeah.
You already had one recording on my man cave. So
Look
Oh
at
my
Mark.
gosh!
Reflex
Curtis
is
just went
pulling
all
his
Jimmy
thing
Cage
out
on us with the dual necks there.
I play. I play a mean triangle, y'all. If you need me.
Yeah. That's very important. The triangle.
Oh yeah.
I'll get your drinks.
Yeah.
Cowbell. I play the cowbell.
There you go.
Excellent. We need all that.
You take all the partially drank beer bottles so they take it a different chime when you tap.
Oh yeah, you're.
Yeah.
There you go, Curtis. I want to see that too.
Oh, I need an E flat. Just a sec.
All right, Graham. Continue the tour, please.
No worries, no worries. So inside the walls, I've actually got cinema soundproofing material.
Wow!
I got that put into the walls when the house was built 10 years ago. Basically, so I can come in here and make whatever noise I have. These cymbals have holes in them. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
So that greatly reduces the sound of them. They're low volume cymbals. They're 80% quieter than a traditional cymbal. And you can actually play them and talk over the top, which is unheard of with drums. And if I was to ever do drum lessons for someone, I could talk and whilst they're playing and I wouldn't have, ear bleeding or anything like that. The same thing with the snare heads. I don't know if you can see through them. They're a mesh head. They're similar to the heads that are on the electronic drum kits, and they also greatly reduce the volume of the drums. So it allows me pretty much to, and I'll come back to my face. It pretty much allows me to play, up until about 10 o'clock at night. And not disturb anyone in the house too much, though I think my wife's pretty tolerant of me playing. But yeah, I wish that I had this kind of stuff around in the 80s when I was learning to play, because the number of times the neighbours called the police on me. If I had $1 for that, I could buy another house.
I love it, man. Hey, I got two things, Graham. First of all, show off that shirt you got there. I want that to be shown. Now, I hope the Brant is still here. Get on it, buddy. We haven't had a shirt since the Boat put that together. Boat, that was what, a year and a half ago? Come on, man.
I made that when we started the show. That was the original logo for ARG Presents.
And my second thing is, Graham, what do you think the Seahawks' chances are this year, my friend? I see your hat there. Are you?
They're definitely playoff material.
I agree, my friend.
Definitely
I agree.
Playoff material. I believe they may even win the conference.
I think you may be onto something there, man. Hey, I like the fact that you're into American football. I love it, man. Good stuff, Graham. Good stuff.
Anything Seattle.
There you go. Hey, David, I know you already talked about your person, but I got one more quick question. That's you there with the TARDIS. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, that was at the comic convention.
And you're a big you're a Doctor Who guy.
Oh yeah.
Come on, I know.
Older Doctor Who.
I knew you were going to say that, man. You
got a kindred spirit right here with Aaron.
That's right, buddy. Now let me ask you, who's your fave?
Man, when I was growing up, it was Tom Baker.
Listen,
he was the man.
I would have bet $1 million on what you were going to say right there.
I had a buddy who actually had a scarf and a walk around like, we were big Tom Baker fans.
Now, I love Sylvester McCoy, okay? I'm not going to lie. I love Ace. I love their chemistry. But when it comes to the main man, you can't beat the Baker. He's the master.
That's classic.
You got Jelly Babies. Yeah, the Canadians get it. You guys got a bunch of Doctor Who up there. We love Doctor Who, the old stuff. I've had a trouble. I will admit, my fandom has fallen out over the last couple of years, and it's not because of the Who they've picked as the Doctor, but just the really crappy scripts. I just can't.
Here we go. Get ready for a Latino Spider-Man rant.
No, I'm not going to do it. I want to touch base before we finish as they take this into the house. Let's hear what Frodo's been up to. Frodo, my friend, my good friend, what have you been doing project-wise? You got anything you want to talk about before we slam the door on this sucker?
Nothing really. The only thing I'm working on is I got a older portable CRT 17-inch thing that has, thankfully, the SCART connector. We're in Europe after all.
Yeah.
And I'm working on making some cables for that from the various spectrums I have, so I can use that with those. But apart from that, nothing big. I'm playing Euro Truck Simulator too much, I think.
Oh man, that's one of your jams, isn't it, my
friend? You can never get enough of Euro Truck Simulator. I'll tell you what I do.
Huh? It's fabulous.
Yeah.
As I set the longest route that I can. I usually go from like Manchester to like Reykjavik.
Great, huh? That's a great route.
And then I turn on the Polish radio station, because you know how you can turn on the different radio stations from around the world.
Yeah.
Turn on the Polish folk, and I just jam out to it.
That's all it takes.
I put on the Belgian station.
Oh yeah, Brussels, but, that's good too, man. Good stuff.
I like it.
I love that game. And I've had it for just over a month now, a month and 2 days, I think. And I have about 260 hours on it so far.
Holy smokes!
Holy crap.
You should be a real truck driver, Frodo. You're missing out on some money.
It's fun. It's nice and relaxing. It's fun.
You know, I've got a friend who's an actual truck driver. Right? Mm-hmm. He does not have nearly as much fun as that game would. Maybe running the roads of America is not as much fun as the European ones.
Oh, the ATS is pretty nice too, by the way. ATS is American Truck Simulator. It's just a bit harder to drive because you're not used to that big part of the front of the truck, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So over here, a truck is measured, including the tractor itself.
It's flat-nosed trucks all day long.
Yeah, because they're measured over the full length of the truck, not just the trailer. So
let me ask you guys a question. Since you both played this truck simulator so much, because I'm on the road quite a bit myself, as you know, does the Euro Truck Simulator have some sort of additional gameplay aspect where you're trying to find a bathroom during the COVID era? Because let me tell you something, it should be in there, my friends. Let me tell you something. I've visited many a field, if you know what I'm saying. Amigo wearers hit the weeds, if you know what I mean.
No, but you have to take your rest break every 8 hours driving, just about, and you have to find an official parking place. Then.
Yeah.
I guess that's when you do that stuff.
I've got an official parking space myself. It's out in the field, just outside of Frankfort, Kentucky, where there's a lot of high grass. You know what I mean?
Let's put it this way. I'm over 50, so I probably would need a bottle or something if I had to wait 8 hours. Yeah.
There you go. Hey, listen, I had a real good time. I hope you guys had a good time. Great hearing from everybody and seeing everybody. Lots of good stuff, man. Yeah.
Hi. I just wanted to say that the 1200 is back online.
Oh, thank God.
It's alive.
With a new power brick.
Because I felt bad. I felt bad for a second there.
Got Apple Mac OS going.
Very good. What you do when that thing goes south, just dump some of that homebrew on it, man. I'll take care of it.
An ICC miracle.
Beautiful.
John, you weren't in, so we had to have someone break something.
Yeah.
Oh, cuts like a knife, Frodo.
Hey, listen, Mister, I don't observe polarity. I don't want to hear from you.
Listen, man.
They call me the sketchy tech. Are you kidding me? Are you getting this out? Listen, it was great fun. It's good to see everybody. Thanks for everybody in chat. We had a great turnout tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed what we had to offer here. Good times, and maybe we'll try it again next time, fellas. It was a good fun. So let's take this thing.
For organizing it there.
Oh, well, that's what you call it.
Thank you.
We'll take this thing to the bank, the money bank, my friends. This was the first edition, the first meeting of the International Computer Club. Thank you for watching and joining. We'll see you guys again on the flip side. Adios, muchachos.
Adios.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.